Okay, welcome to another episode of Curse of Fey, where our intrepid explorers venture further into the Feywild in search of various things, some of their own particular things that they're interested in, and also probably as a group interested in finding some answers to the myriad of questions that they've been left with since they've left the last village. And only more questions have been brought to their minds, having just been introduced to a new character, the character being a Yuan-Ti called Petunia, who is now played by, who was previously played by Kane, or was the previous character was Kane. So, who would like to begin today's session by recounting any of the information or what happened in the last session to help us get our bearings of where we are and what's going on? You don't all shout at once.
Yeah, my brain is completely blank now. I had notes.
Apologies. Yeah, I forgot to upload the last week's video until Amros reminded me. So I doubt that anyone's had a time to listen to it, but it is there for the future.
Well, to be fair, I will take part of the blame for failing to remind you as well, good sir. I do remember that we entered the middle portion of the bridge where we had an interaction with a stone face character, aka Hoothoot from from Owl House.
Yes, very similar to that one. Not quite as helpful, probably. Although I suppose Hootie wasn't very helpful either. When I think about it,
that's adorable, Ivor. To be fair, I keep trying to remember the name of the stone face, but no matter what I did, I kept forgetting it.
He was called Calroth of the Hollow Constellation.
That's right.
Well, well done.
It's you have your session notes where everything has been written down there that you can look at in the Discord.
Yeah, I tried to look through where did I put that thing? Right now I put it somewhere there.
Dude.
There's a section handily called Tower Dude. So
I know, but that doesn't mean that my brain will connect to it. That's the problem. My brain is a mess.
Maybe Bridge Dude, Bridge Tower Dude. Maybe towers to. You've already come in contact with a tower as well, so there may be some disconnect there. But
I'm sorry, I'm not going to be typing this time.
Regardless, that is correct. Yes, you made it across the bridge finally after being attacked, didn't you? On the previous session, to that by a shadow snake thing that you managed to defeat with the help of a large portion size of Petunia, who increased their size, doubled their size, and was able to wade through the water and to help you. A Naga, that's what I was trying to think, not snake thing. Naga. You made it across the bridge, and you went up into the bridge, and you did indeed, as you say, meet a stone-faced person. Now, when this entity was introduced to you, or when you spoke out to it, it was a stone face that was crying little pebbles were falling from the ceiling, and but when you did interact, it sort of elongated down, like you say, like a bit like Hootie, with a very sort of like a rubbery or sort of putty neck that kind of made its face come down to where you were at the base or the doorway of the tower, and spoke to you there. However, it probably to you guys, it probably didn't make a lot of sense. It sort of didn't speak in riddles, but it's the information that it had, or at least that it gave you, was a little bit maybe cryptic or disconnected. One thing that might have stood out is the fact that they, when they did first meet you, they seemed to be worried that you may be connected in some way to the Queen or the Princess. And we're worried that you may be there to steal something or to hinder them in some way.
Yeah, they were afraid of having its memories stolen, if I'm not fully misremembering that.
With stars, yes. I think they. Let me see. Oh yes, have you come to steal my stars again? That's what they said. And so they said, have you come to steal my stars? No, you wear no crowns, no blood on your hands yet. Speak softly, my dreams are thin and ice and coils stir when I awake. So yes, they seemed distressed or upset about something. I don't know whether you gained any knowledge of why that was, but they did reveal a song that they had seemed to be on repeat singing. They were kept sort of chanting or singing this sort of poem-like song, which they did sing to you, and which has been pasted in the Discord for you to read at your leisure. Yes. However, after several questions had been asked, the faces seemed to become agitated and started yelling or letting out this sort of rumbling scream, which almost was enough to kind of make your ears bleed. In fact, one of your party, Sahana, was actually deafened by this and being mute already, was in pretty bad shape for actually navigating and had to hold on to what your arms. I think Amros, you offered an arm. I think Tisfin also offered as well to help her get through. But you all decided to basically leg it at that point and disappeared down the other side of the tower. However, as you were moving through the tower, the screaming or the yelling awakened or stirred some rather grotesque-looking bird-like creatures, sturges, that were nested in the tower, and they sort of try to attack or latch themselves onto you, starting to drink Valadomi, your character, Galatea, your blood, trying to siphon it off of you and attaching themselves to you.
Mm-hmm.
But I think quickly Tisfin was able to dispatch the one that was on you, pull it off, and then get one attached to them. And then I believe, Amros, you came to the rescue with some wasn't firebolts, was it magic missiles? Yes, the magic missiles to help.
A little bit of that on Portis one.
Exactly, but you managed to strategically place them and knock them down. And they weren't too hardy, these things. They're just irritating because they sort of latch onto you and start sucking away your blood. And just as a little anecdote, one of my characters in another campaign died to a group of these things because no one was willing to run in and help me. Help my character. They thought they would attack from distance, not wanting to get near, which is fair enough. But unfortunately, my character got taken down by these things latching onto me and drained me down and made me fall unconscious. And unfortunately, they were missing with their attacks. And so as soon as they started to drink more blood, I instantly lost rolls for my down state. So I kept losing the chance to be able to roll. I rolled a fail, and then the next sturge that sucked my blood took my third one. And so my character basically died within 2 rounds, which wasn't very fun. I felt like it was a little bit let out to dry, or the DM's discretion was killed off. But yes, they can be in a pack, can be quite dangerous. But there was only a couple, and you managed to deal with them pretty quickly, so that's good. And then you made your way over the other side of the river, across having to wade across the water yet again. A little bit of hindrance. I think Tisfin and Moira, you fell in again while trying to cross the causeway, but you all eventually managed to make it the other side. No further Nagas stopping you at that point. And then you all regrouped on the other side of the lake. I think, somebody, it might have been you, Moira, that made a roll just to make sure you had actually been on the right side of the lake. I can't remember who. It may have been you or somebody else. I can't remember now.
I did the roll, but
failed. Oh, you did the roll.
Yeah, I was thinking, wasn't it Galatea that did that?
Somebody made a roll though, but then did notice.
Yeah, that was me.
That's right. Yeah. So somebody realized because this lake and the tower and the bridge are almost identical on either side, and so
Oh,
for
it
a
was
moment,
Petunia who noticed because she's been sitting there.
that's
staring
right.
at nothing else for a
That's
while.
right. Petunia realized, yes. So I think they noticed that the boat was the only thing that was really different on this side, or the previous side that you've been on, and that wasn't on this side anymore. So, but you were able to distinguish the sides by some means, and didn't have to kind of make any other rolls or anything to try and work out if you were indeed on the same side or had been turned around. But yes, so you all made it to the other side, and I believe that's as far as we got in the last session. Anybody else
Yeah, I don't
remember
think we
anything
got
else?
much further on that. I didn't manage to listen through the entirety of the recap, but I don't think we got too much further on that.
No, I think that's where you are now. Some of you, or most people, I think, have some injury of some kind, some worse than others. But you did all make it there. Now, I believe you may have wanted to take a short rest at the end of the last session, but I don't think we actually finished that. So, if you would like to, or if you have anything else that you would like to do during this point, then you are free to take a short rest at this point.
Cool. Yeah, I think we just went a little bit up the path and found a clearing and sat down there. By
Right.
a stream.
Yes, you may have gone like a little bit further into the forest just to kind of get away from the shoreline. Yep. Excellent. Well, so yes, you have found a space where you are able to rest, that you feel like is secure, and that you were able to take an hour of time or more just to kind of relax and try and get yourselves together again after your ears stopped ringing. I think actually you had at least rested enough that, or while you were sort of sitting and discussing this, that Sahana's hearing came back again. So she was all right. But yes, if you would like to have a short rest, you are free to use hit dice if you would like to, and regain any spell slots that come back on a short rest.
Working on spells. Yeah. I think I'm all done.
Oh, and I better do that for Sahana as well, actually.
Did you upload her character sheet?
Did I upload? Yeah. Did I update her character sheet? You mean?
Yeah.
Yes, I did. I did that last week.
Nice.
But she never got to use anything because she was deaf.
Yeah.
Deaf and mute, so it was a very difficult situation to be in.
Hannah.
Right. Hit dice. Yeah, let's use a hit dice. Go. All right, she's going to use 2. She's back to full health, and she is now taking a short rest as well. All right. Let's see. I guess I'll use 1 short rest dice for Petunia. I think they would probably want to get back up to full again. With a 1, that's not going to do it. Oh, there's 2 with that. We'll leave it at that. I don't want to use their other dice, but we'll say that's enough. Perfect. All right. So, yeah, you have to spend an hour of time resting, getting yourself together, healing yourselves a little bit as well. Perhaps Moira, you're helping out with just any bandages or anything like that. Anything that anyone who's got a healing kit, you might be able to. You don't have to spend any of it, but we'll just say that you are able to tend to your minor wounds and things that you have. Is there anything you'd like to do while you're resting?
If anyone wants to talk a little bit more, we have a chance. Did you have any more questions, Tisman?
I don't have any at the moment, I feel. Anyone else?
I think Galatea will just sort of sit for a while and stretch and like patch up the hole in her side or whatever where she got attacked.
Mm. Yeah, the Sturges sort of have a is it a proboscis they call it when you have the little like a fly or a it has that there's a sort of jabs into side, so they have that kind of like an almost
needle.
like a fleshy needle that was able to stab into you and then retract as needed. So you'll have like a small sort of puncture wound, but nothing too bad.
So I'll just patch that up and sort of brush some of the mud off my feet and put on my boots again because I just realized I didn't do that. So I clean my feet and probably in the stream. Put my boots back on.
Yeah, I'd say that there's probably there was a little stream that sort of flowed on the other side of the river, and there may not be a similar river like or little lower river that was on the other side, but there will be occasional sort of areas, or probably not very far back if you wanted to just do that at the lake, the side of the lake.
And then Galatea will sort of go and just sit and stretch some more. I could really use a bath. As soon as we get to the next place, we need to find a bathhouse or something. Everything is sore.
And I think yes, if you say this out loud, Sahana will write down on her little notepad and let you know that High Hankle is a much bigger town than where you were, and so there is definitely going to be like maybe not a hot springs, but there'll be definitely like a bathhouse or something that you could do. Like Langshorn is just a sort of on the outskirts, is a very small town. But High Hankle, she says, is more of a city.
Cool. I'm gonna read that out loud so everyone else can hear.
Okay.
What Zahana is saying.
That does actually sound like a good idea. Sure, I got my share of baths in the lake, but I'd rather have a proper bath.
Yeah, the water actually in the lake was it seemed fairly clear. It was dark because it was like quite deep in places, but the waters there were actually seemed to be reasonably clean, compared to other similar bodies of water that you may have come across in the mortal plane. It seemed to be almost unnaturally sort of clean water.
Suspicious.
But yeah,
It's the Feywild. Everything is suspicious.
Once Tisman is done patching himself up and stuff, he will turn to Moira and ask, could I have some paper or something and something to write with? I have some things I feel like I need to write down.
Moira's gonna nod and grab a couple of pieces of parchment and hand them over to Tisvan.
Then Tisvan will grab that, say, thank you. Back off a little bit away from the group and sit down and just start writing.
Okay.
Moira is kind of gonna stare after Tisvan a little bit. Like a concerned mother. But she's not gonna what's the word? Probe?
Pry?
Yeah, that word. And she's gonna go to Sohana.
Yes.
And on the paper she's written, that was really awesome what you did with the Naga, the hand stuff.
And Sahana, she nods and she writes down. Thank you. It's something I was, something I picked up. It was something that was taught to me, some as a child, and I thought I'd forgotten it, but actually it came back to me. Not being able to speak, it was able in a way that I could still channel the magic of the Feywild.
And is Sahana sitting like on a log or anything, or is she just standing? What is she doing?
I think she was just sitting and resting, perhaps on a log or a sort of just a dry patch of the grass somewhere, just leaning up and just attending to her own wounds and things. She obviously is very quiet because she can't speak like you, but she seems to be. You've noticed as when you've sort of been sitting around, she does seem to do something that is very reminiscent of your own ideology, and she whenever she sees anything that seems to be like a herb or a plant or something natural, that sort of stands out, she does seem to collect it, and she's got a little pouch that she sort of collects bits and pieces up. So I think while she's been sitting there, she may have gathered up a few things, maybe some herbs that were just sort of growing by the side of a tree, or maybe a mushroom or a few little like acorns or something. She's just been putting them in a pouch.
Mora is gonna sit down next to her and just kind of be a little shy at first, kind of fiddling around with the paper and stuff. And then she like finally writes down and hands her the paper. Could you maybe teach me?
And she looks at it, and she looks towards you and smiles and says, and she writes back on the same bit of paper. Of course, I'll do my best to show you. It's the way that we speak is through the hands. I don't know if you're used to language in this way. It's called Semaseth. And she will sort of hold her hands out towards you, sort of like open palms, as if to sort of suggest that you put your hands out as well.
I do that.
And she'll sort of just rest your little hands in her hands, and she will just gently fold like the fingers on one hand, and then in your other hand she'll just sort of put an acorn, and then she writes down. well, so we don't have to keep saying she's writing down. We'll just assume that when we're talking, we're writing little notes backwards and forwards. But she essentially says to you, every leaf, every blade of grass holds a word, and though we cannot speak currently, by using nature and using a language with our hands, we can still perform or connect to the magic. I don't know how it is done in the mortal realm, but connecting to the magic of the land, to the nature, is a way of being able to speak without speaking. And she moves your hand that's with the fingers that are closed. She holds it up, and then she moves it in a sort of almost mimicking, you think, like a leaf falling, sort of like she brings your hand up high and then lets it sort of fall gently, resting the weight in her own hand and letting your hand sort of go backwards and forwards, just as it sort of lowers down, almost like a falling leaf. And in the other hand, with it, you have the acorn. She sort of mimics for you to crush it in your hand.
I do that?
Okay. So do you mimic the hand movement and what she's suggesting to do?
Yeah, maybe a little, like when a child does something for the very first time, very uncertainly and not knowing at all what she's doing, but doing her best.
Okay. So give me a performance roll.
Wee. Is that 13?
13. Yeah, that's not too bad. So you do mimic the same pattern. You close your fingers, you mimic the sort of motion of a sort of a falling leaf with your hand going down slowly, and then you crush the little acorn in your hand. And you follow it. Nothing seems to happen, and so you look back up at Sahana, and she nods and smiles at you. And then again, she writes a note. She said, This is the basics of Simmersafe. Obviously, you'll need to spend time learning the different forms, but in essence, the motion that you are doing with your hand and the use of the acorn, and when you crush the acorn, it obviously let out a sound, and so she sort of explains to you that a sound that you make with the material and with the motion that you're doing with your hand, that combination is a way of speaking. And so, as if to sort of show you the results of what she's done, she raises her left hand up, rolls her wrist, mimicking the falling leaf like she just showed you, and in her right hand, she gets the acorn and crushes it between her fingers. But as she does this, she does it at speed, and there's a certain like flow. And as you're looking at her, and she's performing these two things together, it's almost like watching, if you've ever seen someone doing either martial arts, just going through forms and stuff. There's almost a sort of a beauty, like a dance she's doing with her hands. It's not just doing the motion; it's performing it. At a time she's going fast, and then she goes slow. And then the crush of the acorn isn't just crushing it in her hand. She's doing it in a certain way to make it, with a certain force, to crack that acorn so it makes a loud popping sound. And she does this, and she pops this acorn with her finger, with her fingers as well. And then as she crushes, she sketches a sort of a spiral sign in the air. And you notice just some sort of emerald-like sparks just come out of the acorn just as she does it. And when she finishes, in front of you, just this snaking out of the ground in front of you, this plant, this like flower, just grows in front of you, and then suddenly the petals pop out and expand, and there's this beautiful sort of pink flower. And she puts her hands back and smiles.
Moira is completely mesmerized. It's just like looking at us like, wow.
And she writes down again. This is a very basic spell, but if it can help you, I can teach you the signs that will help you to be able to cast. It might take some time, but if we practice together, perhaps you will be able to access your magic again until we are both cured.
I would like that. It's been rough the past couple of days. Been feeling a little useless to the group.
And she nods and she takes your hands again and writes, when I first was unable to speak, I was not able to perform the normal druidic magic that I have become used to. I suddenly remembered this old, almost forgotten way of speaking. It was taught to me by one of the dryads in the forest, and like I say, I almost forgotten that it even existed. It was almost through desperation that my hand sort of moved in a way that had long since left my my knowledge. But I am learning as well. But I will teach you all I can. Is there a particular type of magic that I can teach you? Where can I start? What kind of magic would you need to learn? And by that she means kind of what are the types of magic? So evocation, conjuration, transmutation. What is a spell type that is most useful to you to learn first?
Oh dear.
If you want to have a little look at your spells and see like what spells which school of spells is probably one that you use more often, because that would probably be a good place to start.
One moment.
And while you're having a look at that, I think Petunia will probably just be sitting and just tidying herself up and making sure that she's looking well, and probably just casting an eye back and forth between all of you and silently judging.
Galatea rolls their eyes and just shuffles further away.
Is something the matter, dear? She looks at you.
Nope, everything's fine.
Of course. Are we
You?
planning to sit here for a long time, or?
I think we should probably not interrupt those two, whatever they're doing, after that.
Oh, are they? Is she playing with a little creature?
Look, I've had just about enough of this. Moira is a person in her own right.
Of course.
Treat her like
Yes,
that.
yes, they do. They do seem to be quite, almost like people, I suppose.
Just like you are, almost like people.
She smiles. Yes, of course. Some of us are a little bit above other people.
Yeah, some of us are. Well, excuse me. I'm gonna fill up my water skin.
And she smiles and nods, and she continues to wait.
Okay.
So Moira, what do you think?
Evocation?
Evocation.
Currently?
Okay. All right. So Sahana nods, and she'll say or tell you that she'll do her best to try and teach you. Essentially, she tells you that there are 8. Out of the 8 schools, there is a sema gesture, a hand gesture for each one, and that can be used in combination with nature, with a natural object, to be able to create the words of that spell. And so the one for evocation, she tells you, is called root. And she shows you the gesture. And the gesture is that you take your fingers and you claw down, palm facing towards your heart, and then you draw it up up into the air. So you sort of put your hands on your chest with your fingers and your palm against your heart, and you draw up the body and up into the air. And you say those are the roots of your being. That's the hand motion, and then the and so she says that is the sema, the hand gesture, sema gesture for this. And there's you need a botanical note, essentially, something that will create a sound that basically releases the magic. And for evocation, a couple of things that she could teach you. So essentially what we can do is you'll learn or try and learn one of these. And when you've learnt this, then you'll be able to, the next time you have a rest or something, you'll be able to learn another one until you know all the different motions. So there are 2, I think. Let me see. Evocation. Yeah, so there are two different things you can use for the botanical note for evocation. There is a snap or a thunk. So for the snap, then you can find she picks up a stick and she just she snaps it, and that creates this snapping sound. For the thunk, she finds perhaps if she's sitting on this log or something, and she will actually no, she picks up 2 of the acorns off the ground and she sort of clunks them together, and it makes a sort of a thunk sound. So those are 2 methods of making this particular sound for the evocation, and so you need to use those in a combination to be able to produce your spell. Outside of game, mechanically, how this works is you will need to have a botanical note, which is basically like a token that you will use to cast your magic. So I base this on the very similar to how the sorcerer class has what are they called? There's my notes.
Sorcery points?
Yeah, sorcery points. But it's going to be done in the way that you would do a subtle spell. So a subtle spell allows you to use the points, I think, in the same way to not be able to. So you can do silent spells. So it's going to work very, very similar. But instead of having sorcerer's points, you will have these sort of botanical points that you will use. So in order to gain these botanical points, what you need to do is you need to gather the materials like the herbs and the bits and pieces that will be used to make these sounds. Now, the actual bits and pieces you pick, like I said, for the botanical notes, the snap and the crackle, that's just for flavor, because I'm writing this as something that can be used in campaigns going forward. But essentially, what you'll need to do is when you take any rest time, you can we'll do some rolls, and you can use your skills to be able to locate the items you need, and that will determine how many points you'll have to use to do it. And then when you're casting spells, you will use 1 point for a first level spell, 2 points for a second level spell, and so on and so forth. But you will have to train with Sohana to learn this the motion well enough to be able to cast this during a fight or whenever you want to use the spell. So okay, so once you've mastered all of the 8 hand motions, and you know how to use them fully, you will gain proficiency. You may already have proficiency in Herbalism Kit, but you'll also gain proficiency in Sleight of Hand as well.
Nice.
And
Sweet.
until you become proficient in using this, and we'll do a roll for this in a minute. But until you become proficient, until you learn how to use this particular hand motion or one of the motions, you will need to when you're casting, when you're trying to do it, look very much like when you're using doing an attack. You will have to roll 10 plus the spell's level. A 10 plus spell level sleight of hand check. So if you're doing a level 1 spell, it's 11. So you have to do a DC 11 sleight of hand check to avoid fumbling the sign. If you fumble it, then the spell goes. You lose the spell slot. If you manage to do it, then you cast the spell. So you have to do that instead of doing that. But once you have mastered the hand sign, you won't have to do that check anymore. This is basically to make it so that you have like a learning phase. So you have a slight disadvantage on it until you've learned it properly.
This is so cool.
But yeah, I'm still writing this up at the moment, so you'll be testing this out. But I've written rules for this to be something that's taught, but also something that you will be able to take as a class feature. If you were starting a new campaign and stuff as well. So, but it's still in the testing phase.
Congrats, Morris, now a test mouse.
Yes.
Oh no.
Okay.
Dear.
So that was the other thing. So essentially these botanical notes that you're going to create, which is basically going to be like a collection of bits and pieces, herbs, whatever. Again, what I've said is just for flavor, but you can flavor it however you want. You can either like I say, find these things when taking a long rest, when you would normally prepare your spells for the next day. That's kind of the idea of it. The reason you've got a depending on how well you do with your rolls for finding stuff, is to basically still give you some limitation, because obviously I've taken away your voice, but it's a way of doing it and still having a set amount of points that you can have. But you can also, if you don't find these materials, you can also find or buy the items in town. So it will be like a silver piece per spell level of ingredients that you can find. So if you don't find it when you're out and about, you could then purchase some things. So you're not hindered by not being to have enough notes to be able to cast your spells. All right, so and I will write this up for you as well, Morris. You don't have to worry. But the main thing to think about the main thing to think about is that when you're casting, you do as you would normally. You would roll to hit, and then you can cast a spell. But until you've mastered the hand gesture, you will have to make an additional roll if when you're doing it, to see if it actually works, because you might fumble the hand or pop the acorn too soon or whatever it might be, and then screw it up. So there'll be an additional roll there as a sort of a learning curve until you've mastered it. So let me see, where did I write down the rules for learning these things? Did I write it down here? Let's see.
Where's your notes, Faye?
I've got them here, but they're a bit scattered. Sorry. So there is one other downside to casting magic in this way. You need to use both hands, which means you cannot use your shield while casting. So if you want to cast and use this method with your hands, you need one hand for doing the gestures and one hand for doing the snapping, breaking, whatever it is with your hand. So you can't use a shield. So just be aware of that.
Did we talk? I feel like we talked about this, maybe.
I feel
like I've heard this before, that I might have to give up my shield.
Yeah,
am I dreaming?
I think we might have talked before about with your arcane focus, whether you need both hands for having the arcane focus, and it depending on like if it's a rod that you have to hold, or whether you have an amulet around your neck so your hands are free. But essentially, you need both hands free at this point. So you can have it, but if you want to cast magic, you have to put it away. So there would be an action to get it back out again if you did put it away during the thing.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think I didn't actually make a roll for this. I think it just takes time for you to learn it. So I think what we'll say is, because I can't see any other notes that I've made here other than that, is that it takes a certain amount of time for you to actually master this rather than a roll. I might adapt that, but I think what we'll say is every time we do like a long rest, so once you've had a day and had some time to like sit down and actually like learn it, we'll create a roll so that once in a day period you can roll and see if you can master it. And if you don't, you'll have to wait until the next day and to be able to do it again going forward. So as you've just been taught this, we will carry on, and then when you take a long rest or anything at the end of the day, then we'll make you'll do a roll, and we'll just assume that you are practicing at any downtime that you have. So you can practice for a little bit now with Sahana to try and use these things. If you want, and we will do the whole finding the botanical notes stuff when we take a long rest as well. So essentially, I've put here that when you're gathering for these botanical notes, normally when you have 8 hours of rest, when you're having a long rest, you have 2 hours of those can be light activity. So that would be your light activity time during the long rest. So you'll have enough time to rest, but also be able to do some things. Each hour, so if you take the 2 hours, you will have to make a nature check. And depending on the type of biome you're in, whether it's lush or whether it's very sparse, that will make the DC higher. But essentially, you will get the botanical notes will be your proficiency bonus plus your wisdom modifier, and that's how many you will gain every hour. I think I put in here so each herb cost equal to the spell slot level. So yeah, so a third level. Oh yes, so I had the option of doing third level tokens or doing individual. I think I'll just do the individual ones. Yeah, so it will be a DC 12 in a lush biome. So in the forest and stuff where there's lots of things, it'll be a DC 12, and then you'll be able to roll your nature check for that, and then if you pass that one, you will find enough resources for your proficiency bonus, which is 2, plus your wisdom modifier. What's your wisdom modifier currently? Plus 3. All right, okay, so you got a plus 3 wisdom, so that's good. So you would find currently you would find 5 enough for 5 tokens, which means you could cast 5 level 1 spells, or 2 level 2 and a 1, or any combination thereof.
Oh.
And that would be 1 hour. So you'd be able to make that roll twice within a long rest period. So potentially you could get if you got your maximum, you would get 10 over the course of the long rest. You'd have 10 points to spend, which would allow you to cast that many spells. Yeah, cool. So that's me just basically giving you this. We'll test this out. We'll see how it goes over this period as well. But that's essentially giving you a way of summoning your magic again. And also if you do while you're still learning the hand gestures and all the rest of it, then you will have to make that 10 plus your spell level sleight of hand check. And if you do fumble it, you lose the spell slot and the token that you're using for it. So they will whittle down as you cast them. But you then will be able to try again on each turn. Available to any spellcaster after 1 week of training with a mentor who knows the art. Okay, perfect. So yeah, we will say that each day you can learn another hand gesture, and we'll just give you a roll at the end of the day to be able to master it. If you don't master it, then you'll have to then spend another day learning it. Okay. So that's what you're two are doing. You'll basically be doing that during your downtime. She'll start to show you these hand gesture for evocation, and that can take on any motion or with any particular type of botanical item that you would like. You can flavor it in your own way, however you want to do it. But yeah, is anybody else looking to do anything? Or Moira, do you have any questions or want to discuss anything else with Sahana before we move on?
Amros is not doing anything that is worth of note at the moment, at least.
I think Galatia's just gonna pack up and get ready to go.
Okay. And then I think yes, Junior will just, as she sees you all getting up, she will gracefully get up and grab whatever baggage, or if you have any luggage or anything on her. She'll sort of get that, and we all finally ready to go. Oh, delightful.
You play her just as obnoxiously. I love it.
I'm just
I
trying to
hate
do
her.
justice to the previous one, just to keep that hatred up. Yes.
Yeah.
Um.
I'm sure.
Perfect.
I'm sure Gail would appreciate it.
Excellent.
I know there's a pain there.
I'll try and do them justice.
It's great.
Okay. Well, so you successfully finish a short rest, and Sahana, after showing Moira these techniques and then spending a little bit of time backwards and forwards. She also, as well as teaching you that particular motion, she also shows you, starts to teach you a few other hand gestures, not magical ones. And anyone can kind of maybe look in on this as well if they're interested. But she starts to show you just a few hand gestures that just are going to help towards communication. So although she can't speak, and this is something that you can use as well, Moira, if you want to, but she starts using a few just simple gestures that anyone can pick up, just to sort of like show, I need help, listen, I think we need to go that way, just a few sort of basic hand gestures that will signal that. So during a battle, she's able to communicate with you, and there's no confusion.
Nice. We'll pay attention.
Perfect. And with that, she sits up, picks up her travel bag, and gestures for you to continue your journey further down the path to High Hankle.
Are we all ready?
Yeah, I'm good to go.
Yes.
Okay. Firm nod from Moira. Let's go.
Perfect. And so you continue carrying on. Now, as Sahana had sort of mentioned before, the path that you come in on was not quite what she remembered. She definitely didn't remember this bridge. So she is making her way along the best she can, trying to make sure that you are at least heading in roughly the right direction of where High Hankle is. And as she continues, you see her often stop and look around at certain points. If there's a sort of a split in the road, she takes a few moments to try and decide which the right path to take.
Galatia's going to hesitate at any crossroads and poke Petunia to see if it looks familiar.
So she'll say, "Oh well, I suppose one path does look like the others as we've come along, but I think this way might be right. It's difficult to say. I wasn't really paying attention as the cart was riding along."
Okay. Well, do your best. Yeah. We don't want to get lost.
And I think Sahana will kind of hear this sort of, and probably helps inform her decision of which way to go as well. And you sometimes they agree on the direction, and sometimes they don't. But Sahana is from the Feywild, and so I think Petunia probably defers to her eventually, sort of saying, "Oh well, you can go that way if you want, I suppose." Yeah, she's like, "Oh, I suppose if you think that's better, if you think you know the way, I'll go along with that. That's fine." And you continue. So as you're traveling, you travel through the woods. This side of the forest, whereas you had found when you left Lakshorn, that the path opened up a bit wider and it was a bit easy going through. And before you came to this lake, now that you're this side of the lake, it definitely feels a little bit more almost sort of swamp like or getting more boggy as you're going along, and the stone cobbled path that you had been following along quickly peters out and goes back into sort of a normal sort of forest path. There are still a myriad of different sort of wild plants and trees and things along your path, but the ground itself seems to get sort of slightly more squishy as you're continuing. Those of you who have had a run-in with the sort of the quicksand stuff before are probably still sort of keeping an eye out for that.
Definitely,
and
might act like it.
Yes, anything like that, you're sort of keeping your eyes to, and you don't really seem to see anything like that. It just generally the ground is less stable than the dirt roads that you had probably been following before. And after a couple of hours of journeying on, the pathway sort of the trees thin out a little bit, and it becomes a bit wider, and you start to see sort of another area that is sort of opening out, but unfortunately this area looks quite boggy. There's a sort of almost like a field in front of you where the ground seems to be pitted with small areas of water that have collected, and there are almost like sort of marshland. There are areas where the grass sort of sits up higher, and there's sort of could be a path or a way of sort of walking through this land, but there is definitely sort of boggy areas or water-filled areas that you want to try and avoid. And Sahana looks backwards and forwards, trying to pick the better way around or see if there's another way around it. But unfortunately, the briars that sort of are threaded throughout this forest seem to be sort of cutting off most other routes. So she turns and she scribbles down on her note and suggests we can either cross. I think High Hankel is the other side of this bog, or we can turn around, maybe another crossroads. We should have gone a different way. And she looks to the group to sort of make a decision about whether to continue or to double back.
Should we try and freeze it again, Amaris?
We could try to freeze it, yeah. I mean, we're kind of pressed for time in a way.
Yeah.
I'd say you've got like the time piece that you were given Galatea, but Sahana will also sort of say, I think it's getting a bit later in the day now. So, you probably got another few hours left. And it's always sort of twilight at this time anyway, but she said, you've been traveling for a while today, and it's probably getting to a point where you'll want to take a longer rest, but we might want to continue a little bit further until we stop, unless we double back.
I think we should try and press on, at least see how we go. If anyone falls in, we go around.
Tisvin will pull off his pack and dig out his length of rope.
Galatea is doing the same and just looking up at him, like grinning. Hey, nice, good thinking.
I can stay on the shore, keep whoever goes out anchored, in case you fall in.
Yeah, I think we should tie everyone together.
Okay.
Even you.
And Virginia nods and she says, "Oh, if you think that's the best, yes."
I can offer to go first.
Okay.
Okay. So, so you tie yourselves all together, so you're all like knotted and connected. As you look out, Amros, across this sort of boggy land, this sort of almost swamp-like in this area. You notice, all these sort of different sort of sinkholes and bits and pieces in the or like divots filled with water, but there is certain amount of kind of dry grassland areas that sort of stick up, and as you sort of start stepping out and walking across this area, you can kind of feel that although the ground is soft and squishy, it's enough to support the weight of a person quite easily, and so it's going to be a bit muddy. Probably not going to smell great, but you'll be able to kind of get across here if you're careful with your footwork. You'll be able to make it across to the other side without too many wet shoes.
Stick to the tufts. That's where there's some solid ground. And Tisvin, can you carry Moira? I don't want a repeat of last time.
Isvin will nod and then reach his hand down to Moira.
Moira will grab the hand.
Isvin will lift her up on his shoulders.
Okay, so you sit on Tisvin's shoulders and keep well away from any of the muddy, slimy bog that you're going to be wading through. Petunia is a little bit hesitant probably to get dirty and messy again, but seeing as she doesn't really want to stay on her own one side of the bog while you all carry on, she has little choice but to follow along. So just if you do want to move your pieces in into just the order in which you are tied together, just so I get an idea of where you will be. So obviously, Moira, you're on Tissan's shoulders.
My token can be like next to this
Yeah,
one.
yeah, you can put it around the side. Yeah.
I'll be at the back.
Okay, fine. So, yeah. So I guess you'll be behind. Sahana will be in the middle, and then Petunia will be between you and Sahana. Okay, you all happy with that order?
Sure.
Yeah.
Perfect. All right. Well, as you make your way across this squishy, squelchy, muddy, boggy land, we're going to have a little group challenge of survival skill challenge as you try and make your way across this bogland area. And Amaros, seeing as you're in position 1, I'll let you choose. You can make me either a survival, nature, perception, insight, or charisma check. Which one would you like to make? Survival, nature, perception, insight, or charisma?
I'm not sure how charisma would work in
I
this
know.
scenario.
I'm so curious. You'll have to convince the forest to let us through.
Charismatic Fey dance across the way.
Yeah, dance your way through. But you can.
You don't have to think of a reason. You just have to pick one of those ones that you want to use, and I will fill in the blanks for you.
Okay, I find that sus, but just because to find that out, I'm gonna choose charisma because that's my highest.
Okay,
stat.
perfect. All right, go for it. Give me a charisma roll.
Just a straight charisma.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. Sorry, I meant to say Sorry, it's intimidation or persuasion. It's up to you.
Ah, okay.
So you can add on whatever your proficiency to that, which isn't going to make it much higher, but
It makes it 3 higher.
yeah. So it'll be 10. Okay, so a 10.
So straight in the middle.
Okay,
Rough
so the reason that your charisma was being checked was because as you started walking across this bog, your footing has been shored, and with the others tied to you, you feel secure that you're all going the same way. The floor is muddy and squishy, but yeah, and you see these sort of little troughs of muddy sort of water either side of as you go. They're filled with various sort of algae and plants and things all sort of growing out in odd directions. But as you're walking across here, you start to hear something. You start to hear voices or sobbing or some sort of whispers of your name being called out somewhere out across the bog. You hear a voice calling and to die. Just whispering and creepy, kind of. It's almost on the wind. You're not quite sure if it was a voice, if it's just your mind playing tricks on you. But you take 1 point of psychic damage.
Is it only Amaros who hears this?
Only Amaros, yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so you take 1 point of psychic damage as you lead the party across, and these voices, they're starting to get to you. You're not being pulled in any particular direction, but this strange whispers of voices, this kind of almost a little bit frightening voices that seem to have no direction come to your ears, and it's making you feel uneasy as you continue. Okay. I will let the two of you decide who does the next roll. So Tisvan or Moira, would you like to do either a survival, nature, wisdom, or insight check?
What does Tisvan think?
I just want to point out that Amros would point out that he's hearing something.
Okay, yeah, sure.
So the others are aware that they might not be alone.
So Amros tells you that he can kind of hear these voices and stuff. Nobody else can hear any voices. You guys like listen out, being alerted, but you don't hear any voices.
Okay.
What was it? Survival, nature,
nature, perception, or insight.
Either perception or insight, I would say.
I'm wondering if Tisvan goes for perception, could Moira, being on Tisvan's shoulders, maybe give advantage?
Yeah, I'll let you do that if you'd like.
Yay, I help.
I'll take that.
All right, so you're going to do perception. Okay, go for it.
Yes.
Tap, tap on shoulder. Look over there.
14.
That is
It's
enough.
better than that one.
So what would you? Yeah, perception. Yeah, so you beat it. Okay. So as you two are walking, you are both looking out in different directions as you cross this board. You look around and you, with your perception, you listen out for this voice that Amaros tells you about, and you don't hear anything. However, with two sets of eyes looking backwards and forwards, you do start to see some sort of. You thought it originally was like a reflection off of these little areas of water as you go through this bog. But there do seem to be sort of almost like glowing wisps that kind of sort of dart backwards and forwards over the bogland. And you do start to wonder if these things are almost meant to sort of lure you off of this sort of very, very shaky path that you're going around. But you're kind of a bit too wise to that. You sort of see these things and you can see them for what they are there. They seem to be just sort of trying to lure people further into the bog where it's unsafe. Okay, so Sahana is next. How many other roles we got? You know what? We're gonna skip Sahana. We're gonna make it a player only one. So we'll go on to Petunia for this one. So Petunia's got a choice of insight, nature, or survival. Survival's not great. What have we got? Insight. Not great. What have we got? Survival. nature. Oh, nature's pretty good. Okay, she's going to do a nature roll as she continues across behind you all.
That's good because I wanted insight.
That's not very good though. Oh dear. Okay, so as she's going across, she's probably more concerned with getting muddy and ruining her clothes and being tied around the waist to the rest of you as well. It's not a very comfortable position. She sort of hesitates to walk, and perhaps Galatea, you're sort of pushing her along from the back, going, "Come on, come on,"
Yeah, come on.
and she's just not really paying as much attention. She's generally quite good looking at where she's going, and sort of like, especially with nature, but in this instance, she is distracted from what she's looking at. As she's continuing, following behind Sahana, who is walking along and checking her footing as well, she missteps and she almost pulls you down with her, Galatea, as she steps slightly off the path, and her foot goes straight down into one of these watery, muddy bogs, and she starts sort of sinking into this mud. And those of you in front of her are suddenly like stopped from a pulling from behind, and she starts slipping off the path and falling into this mud, which is quickly sucking her down. She isn't. It's not like the quicksand. She's not being pulled down, but she's trying to pull herself back up out of it. But the mud is very thick, and it's sort of locked onto her. So she needs to make. Sorry.
Immediately try and pull her up.
You were trying to have it? Okay, so I'll let her roll this with advantage then. So she's going to have to make a strength check to try and get herself out. So strength athletics. And we'll do this with advantage. That's good. Yes. So luckily, as you helped her and pulled her out as well, you were able to get her out. And she was getting a bit tired trying to get herself out, and she managed to avoid losing or gaining a level of exhaustion trying to get herself out again. But with your help, she was pulled out, and she's now covered sort of up to her waist on one side in this horrible, stinky mud. But she manages to continue and trying to be a little bit more focused on where she's going. Okay, and the next roll will be for you, Galatea. Would you like survival or insight? Insight? Okay, go for it.
Before we do that, though, I'm just gonna check if Petunia's all right.
She's a little bit sort of embarrassed, probably of been falling in, and she does sort of when you sort of approach her, and she's like, "Oh, don't fuss, dear. It's fine. It's fine." But then she does sort of under her breath sort of say, "Thank you."
Anytime. Just gonna try and stifle a smoke, but she's all covered in mud now.
So, if you'd like to give me an insight check, please.
Yeah.
18. Very good. Okay, lovely. So, you as you're walking around and you're sort of keeping an eye, you realise as you're going along that you've passed this sort of area, this path that you've been walking on. You realise after a little time that actually that stone, that rock that was sort of just sticking out of the water a little bit, that was really familiar to one that you saw about a couple of minutes ago. And then you pass sort of an area where it had tall grass that also looked quite similar. And then you see the area where Petunia had slipped in, and then you can see the mud, the footprints where she got pulled out again. And you realise that your Amros seems to be leading you a little bit in a circle. And that you're not actually moving in a straight line. Somehow moving between the the bog areas, he's and trying to avoid the water, he's actually doubled back on himself, and you've just done a loop.
Can I try and point this out to the
You
others
can indeed,
and-
of course, yes.
And maybe we can navigate by the other stars out. Anything?
Currently, it's twilight. There aren't any stars. The moon is in the sky. There aren't any stars currently, though.
Okay, well, we'll keep an eye on the moon. Try and remember which direction it was rising. And keep it in a direction that makes sense for where we were going.
Cool.
That
Okay.
was my way of phrasing that. So we were going the right way.
so you can communicate with the rest of the team, and you can let them know, that we may be going off track here. We seem to be going round, and it's easily done. Trying to avoid and slightly going left or slightly going right and going too far right. You've sort of walked around, and it's difficult. It's difficult to tell because this bog all looks the same. The trees that you're heading towards look the same, but you do notice these similarities. Perfect. All right, we have got one last roll to do, and I will let you all decide who is to make the last roll. The last roll is survival.
My survival isn't fantastic.
Mine is 0.
I
Mine
have
is-
+1.
+3.
That's probably the best one then.
It's not proficiency, but wisdom.
Yeah.
I shall do it.
Okay, so you're going to do a
please.
survival check.
Oh no, it's a 5.
Oh dear, there's some low rolls this time.
And my
It was so close to. I think it was so close to a nat 20 or something. Oh no.
Oh dear. So yeah, unfortunately that's not enough. As you walk along,
Here I thought the difficulty would be 2.
unfortunately not in this instance. It's not particularly high. It's not particularly high, but it is higher than that, unfortunately. As you, Tisfin, as you were walking, Moira is looking out. You're both looking. You've got high perception as well. However, Moira, perhaps you are pointing, tapping Tisfin on the shoulder and pointing to perhaps herbs, or perhaps there's something growing that you're interested in, and you want Tisfin to grab it on the way past. You think it might be quite useful for this thing that Sahana's been teaching you about, and perhaps it's that, or maybe you're distracting him in some other way. But as he is going to help to lean down and get this thing, the moss that you are standing on, or the grass in these different areas, there's a particular place where he puts his foot, and it looks like it's firm, but it ends up not being. And Tisfin, you and Moira take a tumble into one of these water-filled sinkholes and fall face first into this. Amros, you're pulled back slightly because you're all tied together, and Sahana and the rest of you are pulled forward slightly as Tisfin falls in. The weight of his armor also causing you to sort of topple. Moira, you get launched off of his shoulders and you fall into this sinkhole. This water is cold. It is stinky. It is muddy in there. It is not a nice place to be in. It's not particularly deep, but it is unpleasant. And
particularly deep. Is it? I'm tiny. I'm small.
Yeah, it comes up a fair way on you. It's not quite up over your head or anything like that, but it is particularly. But it feels to you quite deep. Tisfin, it's not great for you, especially in your armor as well. You can deal with it being wet, but the smell of this rotten vegetation in this particular sinkhole of water, and that's been sort of stagnating in there, you know that's gonna fester. It's gonna stink. It's gonna make your clothing smell for a week if you can't get this stuff cleaned. It's not particularly pleasant. However, Moira, as you have fallen off the shoulders into the water, and you are closer to the water than anyone else, as you are righting yourself and you're trying to pick yourself, because are you tied to this rope as well, or were you just sitting on Tisvan's shoulders?
I don't think I am. Maybe someone might disagree, but just being on the shoulder. I don't know. It was. I was on his shoulders. Why would I need to be tied up? But
yeah. I'm just wondering how the rope would go, because you kind of tied it between waist, and then it'd have to go up to you, but then down to Tisvan, and then back.
Yeah.
I'm not really sure.
No rope for you.
I mean, it's up to you. Were you tied on or not? How do you feel about that?
I would say if anyone just tried to tie a rope, she would decline and just be like, "I'm on Tisvan's shoulders. It's fine."
She's a strong independent mouse. Goddamn.
Yes.
So yeah, you do fall into the water, and you are sort of loose compared to the others. And Tisvan, you're trying to right yourself in there. However, when you fell into the water, Moira, and you did sort of swim in a little bit there, as you come trying to get back to the shore, you suddenly notice near the edge that there's as you look down into the water, there's like there's something there under the water. And you're not quite sure initially what it is, but as the water sort of settles, because you've been splashing down and it kind of starts going still again, you start to see this white face, a very drawn out face looking back up out through the water. There's no eyes or anything, and the skin is very prune-like and has obviously been under the hip, but it looks like there's a human corpse just underneath the water level looking up at you, and you've fallen essentially just sort of to the side, just where it is, and you stare down in horror looking at this shriveled white drawn face looking back at you. And as you hurry yourself to try and get yourself out of this little bog, a hand clutches onto the bottom of your outfit and holds you in place as the head shifts and looks towards you. And we will need to roll some initiative.
Nice.
Don't forget
That's
to start,
terrifying.
Perfect. Yes, I won't forget to start it this time. Thank you very much. Right,
Wait,
let
hold
me...
on. How do I do this again?
So you double click on your character.
Right click.
Oh yes, right click, and then there's an icon with a shield and swords in the bottom right. So we'll just put Moira. We'll put you there, and then we'll just use this where we currently is on this grid, just sort of like positioning for the moment. And then we will go from there. So let me just roll this.
Right. So watch out for moving in this, okay?
Moving. Watch a movie.
Moving.
Ah. Right. I need to roll for some other people. Let's roll for Sahana as well. Okay. Oh well, the corpse is the last to go. So I suppose that makes sense, being a undead thing. Perfect. All right. So let us begin the combat. Moira, what is your reaction to seeing this thing in the water? Let's have that first. What was your initial reaction?
I think Moira is just frozen in fear and just staring.
Okay. Yes, no sound can leave your lips. So actually, before we start, Tisvan, I want to know if you've noticed that this white corpse is there, because Moira's unable to sort of tell you about this, but let's see if you actually see it as well. So can you just give me a quick perception check before we start things off? Because you have been pulled over and fallen in this bog.
Yes, sir.
Oh, very good. Yes.
Dirty 20.
Dirty 20, perfect. So we'll say that you were probably prone when you fall into it, and Moira, you'll probably also be prone currently, and you're just sort of getting up and getting out, because although you're probably trying to get to your feet, you are in water and sort of half submerged, so it's a little bit difficult. So we start the round with you kind of being sort of on your side or sort of in the water, hindered slightly. So you'll be in sort of difficult terrain where you are. But Tisfon, you notice there is some sort of Moira has been scared by something, and as she's sort of flailing around, there is this white, drawn-out face, a corpse that has latched onto her leg or onto the bottom of her clothing, and is seems animated in a way that it should not be. What would you like to do?
Are we counting the squares as 5 feet or 10 feet?
5 feet.
Okay. Tisfon will draw his glaive and he will slash.
Oh yes, because you've got the range on that. Perfect. Yep, go for it. Oh, actually, before you do that, any creature that starts its turn within 10 feet of the Whispering Corpse must succeed on a Wisdom saving throw. So could you make me a Wisdom saving throw, please, first?
Yes, sir. Five.
Okay, so unfortunately that is a fail. So as you look down at this corpse and you ready your glaive to attack, the face of this withered pruny-like corpse looking back at you with no eyes sends a horrible wave of sorrow and pity through your body. Looking down at this creature, you're not scared of it, but you're just overtaken by this mournful sorrow of this creature emanates from it, of dying in such a horrible way, away from its friends, away from the people it knew, just dying in a ditch somewhere alone. And you gain one. You are affected with sorrow for 1 minute. While you are sorrowful, it means that you have disadvantage on perception checks, and you cannot take reactions.
Okay.
You can repeat the saving throw at the end of each of your turns. Okay, so at the end of this turn, you'll be able to roll and try and shake it off, but at the moment, you cannot take reactions. In fact, comes up in this situation.
Then now I slash.
Go for it. Oh,
10.
10 is not quite enough, unfortunately. You swing out, but unfortunately, being still like half submerged in the water, and this creature being like sort of half in the water and half out, you swing, but you unfortunately hit the water, and it stops your blade getting its full potential, and you don't quite make contact with it.
All right. Let's see. Do I have anything? No, that is the end of my turn.
Okay. All right. Galatea, at the back of the queue.
Galatea just sees Moira tumble off, and instinctively grabs a little gold wire, like a little like a bubble wand.
A what?
And blows in it.
Oh yeah.
And casts levitate on Moira.
Oh, perfect. Okay, and does she need to do any rolls or anything, or does that happen? All right.
No, unless she's unwilling to be floated.
Oh, I am very much willing.
So you suddenly start feeling yourself get lighter, Moira, and you start rising out of the water.
And you recognize this feeling.
This creature, this corpse has got hold of you though. So I would like Galatea, I'd like you to just make me it's going to be a sorry.
The spell can levitate a target that weighs up to 500 pounds.
Well, this is to decide whether or not you actually can pull Moira out of its grasp. Otherwise, you're going to be levitating both of them.
Yeah.
So if you want to try and shake him free, then I want you to make a roll. Let me have a look. What's your spell? Where are we? Spell casting. Plus 2. What is your skill for spell casting? What's your
Intelligence?
Intelligence. Okay, so make me an intelligence. Let's call it. Where have we got? No, that. No. Just do an Arcana. Give me an Arcana check to see if you can use your magic to throw this guy off. The strength doesn't really make sense in this instance.
Okay.
This is how you use your levitation spell to kind of like flick him off. Yep. 30-20. Yeah, perfect. Okay, yeah. So you managed to levitate Moira up into the air, and how far are you going? How far are you levitating her?
Up to 20 feet. So 20 feet. I think. No, wait. How far can it reach? 15 feet.
15 feet. Okay, so Moira, you go floating into the air. Your body becomes very light, and you start raising up. The corpse that has the bottom of your outfit is gripping on, but as you get out of its range, the corpse itself loses grip on you, and you slip free, and the corpse just goes splat back into the mud again. And you are hovering 15 feet in the air. Anything else you would like to do, Valadomi? Sorry, Galatea?
I'm gonna squeal seeing this thing coming out of the fog as well, and being shaken off, and like let the others know to attack.
Perfect. Okay. All right. Lovely. That is the end of your turn.
I think so.
All right.
Just checking if we can do any other things.
Okay.
No, I can't.
Okay. All right. So we move on to Moira. Now you have been levitated 15 feet in the air, so you were outside of its range. So you don't need to roll for its miasma of morning.
Cool. So just to double check, I haven't actually like learned any of the
So you haven't mastered anything. You have started to learn the hand gestures. So you can make if you want to do a spell, you can do it, but you have to first, before you make an attack, you have to see if you can perform the hand gestures perfectly. If you can make it perfectly, then you can then go ahead and make the spell as you normally would do. But if you stuff it up, then you lose the spell slot. So basically, in trying to cast in this way, you've got a chance that you might not have quite got the motions right yet.
Okay.
So, what are you trying to cast?
I was thinking of Sacred Flame, which is a cantrip.
A cantrip. Okay, perfect. So you won't lose a spell slot essentially if you do this. Does it need verbal or anything for you to do this one?
I mean, probably. I'm pretty sure all of my spells do.
Let's have a little look on here.
Yeah, verbal.
Yes. Okay. Perfect. So this is a good one to practice on then. So you won't lose a spell slot necessarily if you for doing this because it doesn't require one. But the spell won't go off if you fail the hand movement. So all you need to do is you need to make me a roll, and let me just double check what it is in here. So it doesn't have a spell level, so you don't need to worry about that. So you just have to beat a 10 essentially, otherwise you fumble the sign. So give me a straight. It's a sleight of hand check. Sorry.
Okay.
Sleight of hand check with a DC of 10.
Okay. You mentioned something about proficiency. Is that later?
Yes, the proficiency will be later if you complete the training and learn all of the hand gestures.
Awesome.
Then
okay.
you will gain proficiency with sleight of hand as well.
Cool. 14!
Yay! Perfect. Yeah. So you think about what Sahana has said to you. You start making the hand motions. You pull out. I think probably Sahana maybe gave you some basic herbs, but you've got some herbs and stuff on you as well. But you do the gesture. You copy what she did, and it succeeds. And you feel the magic welling within you that you haven't felt for a little while, and you were able to cast it. There's no sound coming out of Moira, but you see her sort of like almost hyperventilating in the air.
I like just a big ol' smile.
Just flailing. And then sacred flame burst from her.
Sacred flame!
Okay, so it needs to make a dexterity saving throw. All right.
Yes.
It's probably going to be one of its worst things. Oh, no, it's not its worst
The
thing.
secret power of a scared mouse.
Yes.
It's not its worst
Fear
one, but
awaken your potential.
that is an 11.
That is a fail.
It's a fail. So it tries to move, but it's a corpse in water and mud. So it's not super dexterous currently. So yeah, roll for your damage.
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 Oh man.
1
It's
point of
one.
damage. Ah.
Damage.
Hey,
Good
that's
damage.
practicing. That
But
makes sense.
Well,
But I did a thing.
you do your hand motions. You send the sacred flame down, and you definitely got those motions right. And you feel the connection to your power. The sacred flame comes down, but unfortunately, maybe it's because of the positioning that this corpse is in. It's half sunk in the water, the mud. Your aim may have been slightly off, or it may have just dissipated within the water. But this corpse takes some damage, but yeah, not too much. It looks relatively unscathed by that.
It's been a minute. I'm a little rusty.
Yeah, this is the first time. This probably pales into comparison to the fact that you can actually start using your magic. So you're kind of like, oh well, that was just a practice shot.
Yeah.
Perfect. Now you are floating 15 feet in the air. So currently you're probably not able to move. You're just sort of being floated there.
Galatea, can I move?
Target can move only by pushing or pulling against a fixed object or surface.
Yeah, there's nothing around, unfortunately. So you're kind of like in the air. But you are 15 feet in the air. So
I am. Let's say she's like trying to swim in the air.
you're making the motions, but there's nothing there. You think perhaps if Tisvin like put his glaive up in the air, you might be able to grab hold of it and be pulled along it maybe on another go. But is there anything else you'd like to do?
Nope.
Yeah. Okay. Then we move on to Amoros.
Seeing as this thing now is visible and seeing how it targeted our little mouse friend, Amoros is just gonna go for fuck no, you let the hell out of us and cast magic missile.
No, not magic missile. Okay.
Yes, magic
Then
missile corpse face.
yeah. So roll for damage.
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 I should stop saying that.
All right. So 2 from the
Like
first
one.
bolt. So the bolt goes into this corpse, which kind of blasts into it, and you see it sort of move back, but it seems relatively still unfazed by the first bolt.
All right, second bolt.
Oh,
1
okay.
point higher.
Yeah, a bit more. Yeah, you're hurting it. You start to see from the force damage that these bolts are creating. You do see its body being sort of like flailed away as they're coming into it. But it's difficult to tell because this is a bloated kind of waterlogged corpse. So it already looks very bad. It just seems to be slowly falling apart as you hit it. Oh, there we go.
It went up by 1 each.
There we go. Each one going up. It's all making a difference. Yeah, you've blasted this thing.
It seems like each bolt hits the exact same spot every time.
You're slowly boring a hole into this creature. Yeah, you blast it, and it's definitely taking damage. You see chunks of its wrinkled flesh being blasted off. But the corpse is still animated and still crawling out of the mire. Anything else you would like to do?
There isn't that much Amros can do with his current options, so I think that would have to be it at this point.
Okay. All right. We move on to Petunia. Let me have a quick look at their sheet because I have no idea what they have. Um. Do, 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 do. Hmm. Let's go with a good old poison spray. So she's going to extend her hand out towards the creature, and just a puff of like noxious gas expels from her palm, and it's going to succeed a Constitution saving throw. Oh, a natural 20. So she puffs out this poison, hoping to kind of poison this creature and slow it down, but it just dissipates around the corpse and seems to have no effect at all, unfortunately.
It isn't breathing.
And that's I'm on the wrong thing. Right. All right. So she used that. So, but that's a cantrip, so that's fine. Can do as a bonus action.
Bonus action.
Where's the bonuses? I can't see. I can't see anything they can do as a bonus action on here. I'll have to leave it at that, I think, because I'm not really sure what else you can do. So, yes, so she does that.
Spellcasters, the lack of bonus actions in a lot of cases.
And she just seems a little bit perturbed by that. Oh, and that is the end of her go. I'll say that she's got no reason to move. You're all tied together, so yeah, she'll just end with that. Okay. Now we go on to Sahana. So Sahana, I love doing all the NPCs. Right. So what has she got in her hand? What does she do? Oh, let me filter this by prepared so I can see exactly what she's got. Right. All right. So she is going to try and be helpful, and she's going to cast Fairy Fire in this area and try and light this person up to make them easier to hit. It's going to survive. Make a dexterity saving throw. All right. Oh, it's got a 19 for that. Is that? Oh, hang on. Was it dexterity? So it was 20, wasn't it, altogether? So that will beat that. So yeah, so she sends it out, and it fails to land, and the fairy father. There's a slight go for a second, and then it dissipates. And she's pretty miffed about that. She does a cool hand sign maneuver, and you see her snapping a twig and moving her hands in a certain motion, and then nothing happens. All right. So Fairy Fire is it's an action for that. Does she have any bonus actions that she could do? She can't use that where she currently is. No. All right. That's the end of Sahana's turn as well. Bit disappointing. Okay, we move on to the Whispering Corpse. So after you guys try and slam in some spells to it, it's taken some damage from Amoros. It does have a hole being formed in it by these darts, but unfortunately at the moment some of the other spells fail to hit. So it rises out of the water. Its skin almost sloughing off of the bones that you can see in front of it, having been in the water for God knows how long. Its flesh just all wrinkled and devoid of color, and it looks actually worn pulls out its arm, pointing in your direction, Moira.
Why me?
And the mouth moves on the corpse, but you don't hear any voice from the mouth. However, everyone within a 30-foot radius, or within 30 feet with it, which is everyone, can you make me a wisdom saving throw as you feel, although the mouth is moving and you don't hear a voice, there is a whispering voice that starts crawling into your mind. And Amoros, you feel this from earlier, but now dragging into your mind this horrible creeping voice emanating. It's almost like looking at watching a film with subtitles. The voice and the sorrowful mourning that goes in your head doesn't quite match the movements of the jaw of this corpse. And you all start to grab your heads. Okay, what is the DC on this? Let me just double check. All right, so Amoros, you pass. Moira, you fail. Galatea, you definitely pass. Tisfan, yes, you pass as well. Let me roll for the others. What did I say? It was a wisdom saving throw, right? Wisdom. Nope, Junior fails. And wisdom. Come on, Sahana. Ah, shit. No, they fail as well. Okay. All right. So everyone who failed, which is Petunia, Sahana, and Moira. So there's only 3 of you. You are all going to take 2d8 psychic damage. So let's roll that. Oh, shit. Okay, that's 14 points of damage, psychic damage, as you grab your head and this voice just pierces in you. It doesn't matter if you hold your ears or anything. This voice, this horrible, sorrowful, mourning whisper of ill intent starts piercing into your mind. And you can do nothing. You can't concentrate anything but grab your head, trying to force this voice out. All right, let me quickly make the changes to these people. So, 14 here, and 14 here. Okay, all right. Sahana is blooded as you see blood dripping down from Sahana's nose as she falls to her knees and just clenches her head. Petunia, similarly, you see blood drip from her eyes as she forces her hands over her ears, trying to shut out this horrible voice. Moira, you're not quite as bad, but this voice is piercing into your mind, and it's making it. It told me to do a concentration check, but Sahana, it didn't work. So Sahana, you don't need to do it. Okay. That is the end of the whispering, or the whispering corpse's turn. Other than it's going to move, actually. It is going to crawl. Oh no. No, it's gonna just move its normal one. But it is stuck in the mud. Okay, it's gonna crawl. It's gonna try and crawl. It can get to about here in front of you, Tisfan. Now let me see. Can it do anything else on this turn? Done that. Yes, it can do one. Okay, so it crawls across the floor, dragging its body out towards you, Tisfan, and you see it grab its hand comes up, and although the body and the skin and that is sort of like sloughing off, and it looks it's devoid of color and it looks very squishy, you see these kind of rather sharp looking nails or claws on its hand, and it just, as it pulls itself through, it uses them to kind of pull itself up and out of the water onto the mossy ground and pull itself along to your feet. And as it does, as it gets there, it just swipes out with its clawed hand towards you. And gets an 8.
That's a miss.
Okay, so it tries to rack its claws against you, but you've got armored boots, so it goes ding against it and does nothing. And that is the end of its turn. And Tisfan, it is now your go. However, I believe this happens on every turn, doesn't it? Let me just double check. You should start within 10 feet. Yes, they must make a wisdom saving throw, please.
I keep clicking on ability check. Nope.
Oh, and actually, you have disadvantage on this. Well, it doesn't matter because you got a 3, but you had disadvantage on it because you were already affected by it. So because you already had the sorrow on you. So yeah.
Oh
so,
yeah. I missed to do the second save at the end of my last
Yeah,
turn,
we
but
missed it at the end of your last time. That's fine. We'll remember at the end of this turn, we'll get you to roll again. So you were still affected by it, so you would have had that disadvantage, but seeing as you got a 3, we won't worry about that. So you're still affected by sorrow for this time, which means you have disadvantage on the next wisdom perception, which is what you'll make at the end of this turn, and you can't take any reactions if that becomes a thing. But other than that, go for it.
Slice and dice.
Slice and dice.
17?
Yes, 17 is definitely enough to hit. Yes, this putrid-looking corpse is just trying to grab hold of you.
11 damage.
11, nice. All right. Boom. Okay, yeah, you slice into this thing, and having missed the first time because of the water, now this thing is crawled towards you. It's making the your attacks much easier. You slice down with the glaive, and it's just going like through this soft body. It's like going through butter. You just slice into it, and you almost sever this thing in half in the first attack.
And that is the end of my turn. Please let me hit level 5 soon.
Perfect. All right, Galatea. You have a mouse flying in the sky.
Yep.
Just sorry to squeeze in a little bit. GM, I have unequipped my shield
Okay, perfect.
because I'm doing the things with
Great,
both hands. So
No worries. No problem
Sorry.
whatsoever.
go on.
No, it's okay.
Have you taken it off of your character? In your character sheet?
Yeah, like I unequipped it, so
Okay,
my
perfect.
AC is 16 instead of 18.
Perfect. Thank you very much.
Tisvin, how is your dexterity?
My dexterity is 12.
We've forgotten to do your roll again, by the way.
Oh, yeah.
So can you
Let's
make me? Let's just do that first. Sorry, Galatea, to interrupt again.
No worries.
Could you just make a wisdom with disadvantage, please, to try and shake off the sorrow?
9.
So it's a 9, which is not quite enough. So you are sorrowful. Sorry.
And my dexterity is 12, so +1.
I really want to do ice knife, but it will hit you afterwards.
I had the same will earlier, but I would have hit Moira.
Yeah, I'm not as convinced or concerned for Tisvin as I am for Moira.
I can't take it.
At the moment. I'm just gonna yell, Tisvin, duck, and lick my middle finger again and like fling it at.
Okay, so you get drop of moisture and you create an ice shard and dagger and you fling it across at this thing. Perfect.
Yeah. Yes.
Do I need to make a roll, or are you?
I'm just checking if I wanted to do like upgrade it.
Oh, I see. I'll just put warning this when he's going to get here. You're like, can I do this and do more damage?
No.
Can I take him out in this go as well?
Right. So, make a ranged spell attack. Okay. Why?
Unfortunately, that doesn't hit, but it still does the second part.
Still explodes.
Yeah, so you fire your ice dagger across. You don't quite hit the because this is I guess actually this would probably have been a disadvantage anyway because it's at range and he's on the floor, he's crawling, so he's prone. But regardless, the ice unfortunately misses. However, then it does explode And I think everyone has to make a dexterity saving throw, is that right?
Yeah, within 5 feet.
Okay, perfect. So yeah, just you and me, Tisfin.
I don't know what it's up against.
Natural 20.
Why?
Fucking 5.
Why?
Did you
I'm that duck.
did you do this at a higher level?
No, just
You
first.
didn't? You sure? Being honest?
Yeah.
Okay. Because you asked, I was
You
just
can see it on the
checking.
thing.
No, it's fine.
I
No,
only
it's
had
fine.
one more second, so
That's
I
fine.
thought I might spare Tisman a little bit.
No worries. Okay. So if you made it, you don't take anything. Then it looks like it's not even half damage, is it? Is if you
no,
is this
it's not even
yeah?
half.
All right. So
Fine.
do you want to roll your damage for Tisfan then?
Yep. How do I roll that? I just 2d6.
This is when Galatea rolls max damage.
You double six.
No. It's damage.
Damage, like fromage.
Oh, for fuck's sake! My Windows thing just started a update thing. What it? Ah. It just closed everything. What the fuck?
What's closed? The whole thing?
My, yeah.
Oh.
My game.
All right.
Sorry.
That's all right. Just you take your time, get it booted up again, and then we will continue.
It's very hard one hand.
Yeah, I can imagine. All right. So let's see if Tisfan is going to take more damage from Galatea than the corpse.
I think
Yeah,
it's
I'm fine
because
with
I
this.
have to press a button to like talk as well, so it's like.
Yeah. There's a lot of things to do.
Faye, your despise for Tisfan's damage is showing through.
Oh, it's all right.
One.
6 points.
Ow.
Okay. So yeah. So you threw the ice knife across. It misses the target, but it explodes. And a few shards of ice just go flinging out. Fortunately, finding the little gaps within your armor and striking you, Tisfan. Not for too much, but
He's sad about it.
He's already sorrowful.
yeah. You're even more sad now.
But I mean,
You're like, even my party are attacking me.
Now he's just depressed.
Yeah. Is he still thinking about the like? Was it 3 times now that you've fallen in water? Almost as
This
many
time-
as Amros.
This time it wasn't my fault, though.
Only when you carry Moira do you fall into the water. Perhaps she's making you unbalanced.
Probably.
How dare!
Is there anything else you'd like to do, Galatea?
panic.
Panic. Any bonus actions or anything? Oh,
hold
you could probably move.
Panic. Just give me a second.
Okay, no worries.
Right, it's because I have to control everything with my left hand, so I keep accidentally clicking stuff, and then I have to turn it all off again. And it's the same hand as I use for the talking, so.
Yeah. So you got to keep bouncing backwards and forwards between both of them. Moira, were you trying to indicate in any way to Galatea to sort of maneuver you or let you down, or
I can't do that.
you can't do that, or she's just levitated, or
It's
she's
an
not?
action. It's an action about it.
Oh, okay. So you could turn off the levitation though, can't you?
I can.
Yeah.
But then Moira would just drop straight.
I suppose so, yeah. And she's got nothing to pull herself on at the moment currently either. So you're
Bad idea.
for the moment you're just levitating 15 feet in the air. You could lower her down, or you could lower her down or raise her up.
Moira can do that herself as well. The target can go up and down.
Yeah, but only if they've got something to pull on, isn't it?
It just says If you're the target, you can move up or down as part of your move.
Oh. I thought it had to be. I thought you said earlier that she had to be pull on something.
Maybe, yeah. Otherwise, you can use your action to move the target. It's very confusing.
So run gives you or loose object for your choice that you can see in the range vertically up 20 feet and remain suspended there for the duration. The spell can levitate a target. An unwilling creature. The target can move only by pushing or pulling against a fixed object or surface within reach, such as a wall or ceiling, which allows it to move as if it were climbing. You can change the target's altitude by up to 20 feet in either direction on your turn. So you do have the power to move them up and down on your turn, Galatea.
Yeah.
But they can only move themselves if they've got something to actually propel themselves along with.
Yeah. Otherwise, you can use your action to move the target.
Yeah, that's you.
Yeah, my action.
Oh, sorry. You're
use my action.
Right. Sorry. I thought. I don't know. For some reason, I thought that Ice Knife was a bonus action.
No.
I don't know why.
That is sadly a wishful thing.
Yeah. No. I for some reason I thought it was bonus for some reason. Okay. Yeah. No worries. That's fine. So so you can't currently move them, and unfortunately, Moira, you can't move yourself because you've got nothing to really pull or push on. So you're just there for the moment. But you know,
I'm perfectly fine where I am.
It's probably a good place to be anyway, regardless.
Yep.
Cool. All right then. Well,
The best I can do. I want to get out of range of the sad stuff.
Yep.
And also not so high up that you're going to get horribly hurt if you fall down.
Yeah, that's good. All right. Okay. Well, then we'll move on to Moira then.
Well, wait.
What?
Wait.
I thought you said you did. That's all you can do.
No, you said that.
Okay. All right. Back to your turn again.
I would like to just move like 5 feet backwards.
Sure. Did you give yourselves enough, space between that? You got 5 feet of movement between your
I don't know
rope.
how long is the rope.
It's a 50-foot rope, isn't it? So you've got space if you didn't want to use all of it. We'll say you can move within 5 feet is fine. If you move any more than that, then the others will have to be moved as well.
Yeah. So carefully move 5 feet back.
Okay. Perfect.
Okay,
All right. Is that any good turn?
that's it.
Okay. Perfect. All right, Moira.
Okay. How bad are the two other ladies looking?
Sahana and Virginia, they're both blooded. So they, after taking that psychic damage like you took as well, they seem to be worse off than you. They wiping the blood from their like ears and eyes and stuff, and it seems to have caused them more damage. They're about half down.
Unfortunately, I can only try this on one person at a time. But I feel very good about the thing that I did. So I'm gonna be a little bit more ambitious. And I'm gonna try Healing Word. Let's do Sohana at 2nd level.
Okay. So you so the DC goes up to a 12.
Yes, I need to do the thing. 11.
Not quite enough. As you're doing the hand motions.
Can I do it 1st level?
Well, you've already made the roll. Unfortunately, you've already used the spot.
I know.
So you try.
Worth a try.
You try and run before you can walk. You try and do a more complicated spell, and unfortunately, as you do your hand motions and you use your you crush your berry or you crack the acorn, the timing is just slightly off, and you feel the magic there, and then it fizzles and it's gone, and you use that spell slot.
It's fine. It's fine. I was a little bit ambitious. It's fine.
Anything else you'd like to do?
Well, the thing about bonus actions is it had to be a cantrip. Right? Or I don't remember this stuff anymore.
So you can do if you take an action.
Or that was a bonus action. Healing word is a bonus action.
All right. So you used. Sorry. Hang on. Let me look at your prepared spells. I wish it hid all the other ones by default. Okay. So you just used. What was it that you used? You tried to use a second level.
Second level healing word.
Oh, you didn't have it prepared though. Second level healing word.
Oh What do you mean I don't have it prepared?
You don't have it prepared in your list. if I click the filter and then look at the prepared spells, you don't have it as a one that's prepared for today.
Oh shippity!
You've got cure wounds.
I'm looking at my full list. Oh shoot! Friggity!
The chaos of her having her magic back.
I love the swearing.
So yeah, you didn't have that spell anyway. So you tried to do a spell that you don't know, and it didn't work.
Frick.
So it was inevitable. However, to your question with the cantrips and stuff, you can use if you use a spell slot as an action, you can use a cantrip if you have a bonus action cantrip, which you don't have. But you can't use you can use it, and you can use a cantrip as an action and a first level as a bonus if you've got one, like Shield of Faith. But yeah, one has to be an action, one has to be bonus action, and one has to be a spell, and one has to be a cantrip. I think.
Okay.
It is something that constantly comes up because it's always a query of like, which one can I do? So I'm sure we'll revisit it multiple times.
So that spell wasn't available. Does that mean that she can cast something else?
Well, I would still take the same roll. So, so we'll say you didn't waste the second level slot. Let's say that you, but the roll was for 12, so it was a second level. So, all right. Let's say what else would you have done in that situation, knowing that you didn't have that spell slot? What would you have done?
I mean, I can't move. Damn it! I'm so sorry.
It's okay.
I'm so mad at myself right now.
We've all rolled really low so far.
Do you reckon you would have done spiritual weapon?
I mean, yeah. If we're sticking with the second level, then yeah, spiritual.
Just because because I know you wanted to heal, but you don't have anything that will heal, which you don't have to do a touch for. And if you were using a second level spell, then you might have used spiritual weapon because that would give you the ability to move the weapon around wherever you wanted it. Or you could have tried to do a sacred flame or something again as well. So because you didn't have that spell and we made a mistake there, I'll say either you can have cast spiritual weapon and you'll lose that second level spot and that will just even it out, or you can have tried to cast sacred flame again, which will say it failed as well because obviously you rolled low. But either way, you will have used a spell in some fashion. The cantrip obviously means you don't lose the spell slot. So it's up to you. You tell me.
To make it fair, let's stick with the second level, and then I'm gonna lose the spell slot.
Okay, so you will say for instance, you were doing spiritual weapon, which didn't work, so that makes it even. So that would have been an action to do. So a bonus action to do. So you've still got an action that you can take. So you could do sacred flame now because it's an action and it's a cantrip.
Okay. I'm so sorry.
But you-
sorry.
But you will have to do the hand. And it's new. This is new doing it this way, and it's easy to do because I say that filter doesn't automatically hide the things that you're not proficient in. So you have to kind of toggle it on every time you load the bloody game. So don't worry about that. So if you want to do Sacred Flame, you just have to make that Wisdom roll again, but it's only a 10 that you have to beat. So
Okay.
if you want to do that, you can do anything else you like. You can do Guidance. You can do Poison Spray or anything like that.
Wait, hold. But I went for evocation.
Hmm.
So that would be Sacred Flame.
Yes, it would be, yes.
Yes. I'm gonna try that. Let's just stick with what
Okay.
worked last time.
All right, so give me a roll to see if you can do the hand signal. You've done this already, so you know it should be pretty straightforward. You should be able to do this one.
Nope. 7.
Unfortunately, you try again with the Sacred Flame, but your confidence is a little bit shot. You're like, oh, is my finger supposed to be here, or was I supposed to turn my hand this way? And you feel the second spell just fizzle again, unfortunately. And as you can't move, I believe that's the end of your turn.
Can I as a free action kind of try to signal to Galatea, like, let me down?
Yeah, sure, it's a free action, yeah.
Like, just point me ground.
Okay, so you make that signal to Galatea.
Yes, and she can
Me
do
down,
with
me
that
down.
information what she wants.
Cool. All right. We will move on then to Amros.
Alrighty then. I was a little bit debating on what I wanted to do, but I'm going to do something that I have not done at all because I couldn't understand at first, but now I've read up a bit more about it. I'm going to convert 2 of my sorcery points into a first level spell slot, because that's a bonus action.
Okay.
And then I will use a magic missile to strike again.
Perfect. All right. Yep, you can do that. So you use your 2 cell slots to regain one of your first level spells, and you then cast Magic Missile. Fine. All right. So I assume you're going to hit all 3 bolts on this dude. So roll me some damage.
Let's see what we get.
Oh,
Hey,
nice.
it still goes up by 1.
5 points of damage. Yeah, so you blast into this thing. It's already been like almost bisected by Tisvan, but you blast it again and you see an arm just fly off into the weeds. It looks like it's very close to death.
Then let's keep on the rolls. I managed to kick both of them now.
Yeah, perfect.
3 and a 5.
Well, that's more than enough. It only had 1 point left. And with that, final 2 bolts go into this thing, and very much like a gremlin in a microwave, this corpse just explodes, sending pieces of undead flesh flying and flicking all over the place, filling up the bog and landing all around you, Tisvan. And with that, we are out of initiative. Out of combat. And back to the safety of the bog again. Hooray!
Everyone okay?
I'm fine. How's everyone else?
Moira does like a mix of thumbs up and the wavy hand of like,
I just imagine as Mora does that, she just slowly rotates while levitating because lol.
Okay.
Moira is again gonna sort of try to swim in place. Then he's just kind of gonna look at Galatea like point of ground.
Amos is gonna pull out his rope and come over, tie it around Moira's waist, and just go, now, did we learn anything from this?
Well, she's currently 15 feet in the air, so you can't do it unless. And are you bringing her down again, Galatea?
She went BRE.
Oh, does she? Oh, okay.
Heck.
I'm going to assume that Galatea will allow you to touch back down to Earth again.
I'm back. Yes.
Yes, perfect. All right. So as you land gently down on the moss land, Moira and Amros, you tie a rope around her, do you?
Yep.
Perfect. Okay, no worries. Well,
Okay.
the sorrow effect that was on you, Tisfin, dissipates, and you manage to shake off that mournful feeling as you look down at the body of this wrinkly dead person.
Is the dead person dead?
They are.
Yes.
They're double dead.
Nice.
Is the dead person dead?
They were
Line.
almost bisected and then blown up.
Nice. Good work.
Okay. Just Moira is gonna go and try again. Unless Tifsman is gonna do something.
Try what?
Tisven will use his last 10 lay on hands, 5 each for Sahana and Petunia.
Oh, 5 each. Perfect. And both Sahana definitely, she nods and mouths a thank you to you. Petunia also, although she may not be quite as forward with the thank you, she does nod and say, "Oh yes, no, not as much as I expected, but thank you anyway."
Okay.
Galatea is going to pointedly clean Moira off with prestidigitation.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
I
as you-
get some of that too because I smell like I don't know what.
Yeah,
Yeah, I can't get rid of the smell, but at least you'll be clean.
as you're walking, your builds are like as you're walking, Tisfin. You better you take these boots off tonight, otherwise you're gonna get trench foot.
Oh
Oh
god.
God. Moira is gonna, now that things have calmed down a little bit, and then just kind of grab Sohana's hand and start jumping up and down, just so very, very excitedly, and then rapidly write on paper like, I did a spell! I did the thing!
And yes, Sahana smiles and she claps for you, and she sort of mimes like, "Oh, I saw," you know, and yeah, she's very happy, and she writes a little note just saying, you know, "Oh, if you can keep going at this pace, you'll master these signs quickly. You know, we'll practice again tonight." And she saw you sort of trying one of the spells, and she sort of holds your wrists and just sort of mimics the movement again to try and sort of help you kind of get a better understanding of like, oh, I need to rotate it faster, a quicker twist, and then the snap. Okay, I got it. You know.
Can Galatea work out what the hell is going on?
What, when you're looking at these two?
Yeah.
Give me an insight check.
Insight.
11. You're not 100% sure. They could be playing some kind of form of patty cake.
Well, at least they're bonding. That's nice.
Well, I mean, you presume that they're like learning, because Sahana did sort of like, but when you were having a rest, show you a few hand signals for communication. And so because they both can't talk, perhaps she's teaching her another one as well, but they seem to be very excited about these hand movements they're making, so
Cool.
they seem to be happy with it.
They're happy, I'm happy.
Yeah.
Right, guys,
If you're happy and you know it, clap your hands.
Yeah, exactly. It's that kind of thing. Like, oh, that's nice.
Galatia's gonna like clean up Petunia finally.
Oh, you are. Oh, okay. So you help her with the cleaning off the mud and stuff and the skirt, and
Right, let me get that.
she acknowledges it, and she puts a hand on your shoulder and says, "Oh, thank you, dear. That's very nice. I knew you'd come in handy."
Yeah.
I suppose it's work you're probably used to.
Don't make me trip you.
Cool. So, anything anyone else wants to do before we move on?
No, let's get out. I want to get out.
Cool. Actually, Tisvan, you were the closest. Give me a perception check, please.
Uh-oh.
Is it getting back up again?
No.
Are there more?
17.
17, very nice. Seeing as you were the closest to this happening, the body of this creature that you sliced in half, and then it was basically bombarded by these bolts of force from Amoros. When it sort of like got blown up essentially by these last thoughts, you basically left with the torso of this thing, and the rest of it sort of scattered around and sort of slipping off into the water. However, you do notice something glinting, just sort of just below the waterline, essentially where this corpse was.
This one will reach down and pick it up.
Okay, so you step back into the water, into the smelly bog. I mean, at this point, there's your feet are already wet anyway, I guess.
Yep.
And you reach below the waterline. There's something shining, something that's bright there, and you put your arm down into the water towards it, but you can't kind of quite see from this level, because as you go in, it sort of makes the water ripple, and so you sort of fish around with your hand. And as you're moving your hand, you feel something just clench around your wrist, and your arm is sort of held there. And you pull backwards and forwards, but it doesn't seem to want to come free.
It's a bear trap.
Does it hurt? What's holding me, or is it just holding?
It doesn't hurt. No, it just feels like your hand's stuck. So you can give me a strength check if you like to see if you can free your hand.
I was more thinking grabbing his glaive by the other hand and try to saw off whatever is.
Saw off his hand? Okay, yeah.
I don't know if it's a hand.
No, it's your own hand.
No, I'm gonna try to
Wiggle it out.
Okay.
Find whatever it is.
Yeah, it's up to you. Yeah, you can do either. You can either use strength to pull your hand free, or you can use your glaive if you want to use that.
I'm using my glaive.
Okay, cool. So you put the glaive down into the water. Give me which I guess just do an attack roll.
I'm pretty good at those. I like this.
Yep. If you get an natural one, you do chop your hand off though. Oh, that's lucky. 14.
14.
So you put your glaive into the water. I would imagine that you probably reach forward with your dominant hand. So you're trying to wield the glaive with your left hand, or whichever one is not your dominant hand, and you're sort of doing it. So it's a little bit unwieldy doing it that way. You put your glaive into the water and you start wiggling it around to try and cut away whatever it is there. But when you do that, you feel through the shaft of the weapon. That when you move it's sort of going tink, 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 like against something hard, something that potentially is like maybe metal or something that's hard, and it doesn't seem to be anything fleshy, but it seems to be something that's hard, and you can't doesn't seem to cut with the blade.
Then can I attempt to grab whatever is grabbing me as well and try to pull it up?
With the other hand?
Yeah, or with both.
Sure, yeah. Well,
Whatever
you got
works.
one hand under the water that's stuck at the moment. So do you put your other hand down, or do you pull with just the hand that's down underwater?
I'll pull with both.
Okay, so you put your other hand down under the water to try and pull. Okay, so when you put your hand underneath there, you feel around for whatever is holding onto your hand, and you there is seems to be a thin piece of metal or something that seems to be in a loop. And although your hand is sort of trapped, you're able to feel around it, and it's not like a perfect loop. There is a gap, and although you've been pulling up, if you put your hand down further, you actually go to a wider part, which you can then pull your hand back out of again.
Then I will pull my other hand free, grab hold with both hands, whatever was holding me, and pull it up.
Perfectly. All right, give me a strength athletics check.
Can I assist him by trying to help him pull himself
Yeah,
out?
you grab him around the waist and help pull.
Either by waist or
Ears?
around the top of the chest.
Okay.
Anywhere you can get out good grabs.
Grab him under the arms and give him a good yank as well. Okay, perfect. All right, yes, you can roll with advantage then.
19.
19, perfect. Yes. With Amoros's help, you managed to pull this thing that was seemed to be very fairly stuck, whatever it is. But with your combined strength, you managed to pull, and after a few moments, the whatever is holding onto this thing lets go, and you kind of pull and almost fall backwards as you bring out of the water that you're actually holding onto a looped handle of what looks like a lantern.
I would like to look closer at the lantern, see if there's anything special about it.
Yeah. So you bring it out of the water. It was obviously stuck in mud because it had mud all around the bottom of it, and you can probably dip it into the water that's in this sort of boggy area where you are and sort of wash off the thick the mud around it. And as you do, it reveals more of the lantern. Before, it was just sort of all covered in sort of moss and crap and all the rest of it all around it. But as you wash it off, you notice that that this is quite a delicate and well crafted lantern that actually seems to have been made from woven like you think maybe willow branches that have sort of like been wound together, and it's got a sort of almost now that it's washed off, a sort of a silvery look to it. And there's glass around in the sections that sort of hold the light. And when you look at it, you notice that the flame, that there's a flame in it. Like this is still lit. That's what you saw. This sort of glowing or glinting thing. Even though it's been underwater, there seems to be a flame inside it. And when you look at the flame, it's strange. It's not normal. It's not like a normal sort of like overly sort of flame like that. It almost looks like a moth. When it flickers backwards and forwards, it almost looks like wings of a moth flapping backwards and forwards. And the light, although when you saw it seemed to be like a white color, now that you've pulled it and you hold it up and out of the water, you notice that it's now almost like a golden color.
Isvan will turn around and show the lantern to the others, and more specifically Sohana, and ask her, sorry, have you seen a lantern like this before?
She looks and she takes it from you and turns it around, and she shakes her head and she hands it back to you, and she just writes on the paper. She said, I've not seen anything like this before. The flame, it reminds me of something. I feel like I had, maybe as a child, I had a book. Maybe my father read to me about perhaps sort of some sort of relic, some sort of elvish relic. I can't honestly remember. Other than that, I don't know. I think the thing that sticks in my mind is this this dancing flame that looked like a moth. That seems familiar, but I didn't even think it was real. I thought it was just a story.
Well, I guess we'll keep it with us. And Tisvan will sort of try to attach it to his bag or something.
Yeah, you can do that. Yeah, it's like a hand lantern. It's got like a loop on the top, and you can just sort of tie that onto your bag. But the light continues, and it basically it sends out. Where are we? So yeah, like a normal lantern, it's like a 30-foot radius of light that casts out. But yeah, that's currently all you know about it, and it just has this like flame that looks like a moth sort of dancing backwards and forwards in it, and yeah.
All right, I guess we better get going then.
Yeah, I feel like we need to get out of this bog. I like to say before it gets too late, but you can never bloody tell in here.
It's coming up tonight,
Yeah, so Hana nods, and from where you are, you see that you're not actually that far away. The tree line is maybe another, couple of minutes of dodging backwards and forwards between these the bogs and stuff as well. And this lantern actually is quite useful because it's twilight, and those of you that have dark vision, might be able to see okay, but those of you who don't, this light is certainly making it a little bit easier to spot areas of that you might fall in. So you continue and you make it the rest away away across to the other side where the tree line starts again without much hassle. You may have a few missteps here and there, but you manage to make it across this boggy land and to the tree line again.
Sorry, I'm having distractions here.
Yeah.
Did you say we got out?
Yeah, so you made it across to the tree line on the other side of the bog safely.
Okay. Oh, well, I say we keep going. We probably don't need to be tied together now, but do you feel safer with it or without it?
Anyone?
I'm asking the rest.
Yeah, I'm just thinking.
Yeah, I thought you were gonna continue the sentence. That was why I was quiet.
No.
No, I think we can untie from each other. But yeah, I think we should keep going for a bit more. Get as far away from this bog as we can.
Yeah. And find a bathhouse.
Preferably.
I'm sure Petunia won't protest to the bath.
Oh yes. I haven't, unfortunately, since I've been in this place, been able to take myself to a bathhouse. But yes, my dear, that is something that is very high on my list of things. So let us hope that our guide can direct us the rest of the way without incident.
Well, I'm sure you can help. You've been
Of
there
course.
before.
Oh, I only joke, Sahana, Just a little tease. I know you're doing your best. And Sahana nods, and I think Moira, probably you're the only one that sees her make a gesture with her hands that you can probably easily identify it as a fuck you. And Sahana smiles at you, Moira, and then continues to lead the way deeper into the forest.
Hell yeah.
Moira is gonna look back at the bog and then turn back towards the group and like follow and do like a full body shiver of like, ew, creepy.
Well, as Sahana continues, and as you say, it's not too long now before needing to find a place to rest, and you, as Sahana continues and leading you all on, you look around as you pass through the trees. The land becomes less boggy again. It becomes more solid ground. The path continues into a dirt path again, and the trees continue as you walk through this land. You seem to have made it to the other side of this boggy and lake sort of area. After probably another hour's worth of journeying, you're getting like fairly tired and wanting to find a place, but there hasn't actually really been anywhere comfortable enough or safe enough that you've really sort of seen along the way. And as you have proceeded along the path, the only path that you really have to follow at the moment, you notice that the thorny briars are actually getting more dense. The further you're going in this northern direction, or at least the direction that Sahana is taking you, the briars that were sort of further into the trees seem to be becoming denser and closer together. And at some point, you almost have to go in single file as you're trying to get through this more dense part of the forest without injuring yourself on any of these thorn-like protrusions.
We're still sort of going in the general direction of north.
I mean, Sahana, if you ask her, Sahana, it still believes you're going in the right direction. Again, this part is not that she's traveling. She's going basically because the area is changed. She's not 100% sure that this is the correct or the path that she has taken before, but she feels confident that this is the direction, at least, that you're supposed to be going. And
Can we hear anything or see any lights or anything?
Give me a perception check. $18. Yeah. So as you're continuing along the path, and Sahana's sort of doing her best to kind of guide you on, and you're looking around, all of you are probably at some point looking around, seeing if there's a place where that could do as a place to stop and rest. And as you're looking around, you sort of notice that just off to the side of the path that you're currently going along, there's another sort of trail that heads off, and it's sort of thick with these same briars, but through some of the like gaps between these briars, you can just make out just beyond them what looks like maybe a village or like at least some sort of small buildings from where you can see, and you start to think like maybe we should just, maybe that's a place that is, maybe it's a town, or maybe there's someone there, maybe there's just a place that we can just sort of stop for a little while. But it's sort of off to one side off of the track that you're currently walking.
So, Hannah, do you think we can stay wherever that is?
She looks and she looks across, and she sort of scribbles down on a little notepad, and she says, it may be best to if we could stay, if you think that's a, I don't know what this is. I don't know if this isn't a village. It's not one that I remember on this path. I think staying on the path would be safer, but I don't know how long it's going to be until we find High Ankle. It is getting late, so maybe it would be best if we
just go and check.
Sure. And she looks at the sort of the wall of briars in front of her, and the pathway to this area seems to be sort of covered with this briar, so you'd have to kind of hack it down to get through it. Essentially, it seems to have grown across the path. There may be a way. She does sort of look at it, and there are gaps in it, so it may be possible to kind of squeeze through, but you would need to maybe make a dexterity roll to see if you could get through without getting sort of stuck on the briars.
Do we want to see if fire works?
Yeah, that's another valid way. Yeah.
Because last time fire made it retract.
Mm-hmm.
Amorous, Tisvin, Moira, what do you think? Deliberately disregarding the snake lady.
Good. This one will think for a moment, then I want to try something. And he will grab the lantern that he tied, hold it up in front of him and move towards the briar, see if it does anything.
Okay. Let me find this. So you hold up the lantern towards the briar. The briar doesn't react in any way to the lantern's light. However, you do notice that the light of the lantern changes from gold to a pale green color.
What does that mean?
I have no idea, but I think we need to figure it out. It could be very helpful.
Okay, give me 1 minute.
While all of this is happening, Moira would like to look around and see if maybe there's anything that catches her eye, like plants or mushrooms or anything like that fun stuff.
Yeah, if you want to, do you want to use your
I'll
any
keep an
moss?
eye on Moira to make sure she doesn't eat it immediately.
Sure.
Alistair just wants to cast her
Hey
identify.
me,
so it will be
young
1 minute.
lady.
So do you want to do some foraging? Is that what you'd like to do?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So give me a nature check, and this can be made with advantage.
Yes, sir.
If you've got a herbalism or poisonous kit, can be made with advantage.
I have herbalism kit.
Cool.
At least I should. Yes. So nature check.
Yeah. So sorry, I should explain this better. So if you're looking for just general common plants and things like that, you can just make me a D20 roll. But if you're trying to see if you can find some rarer items, then you need to make me a nature check. So it's up to you what you're looking for.
What was the other option? Nature or?
So it's just nature.
Okay.
It's a nature check if you want to see if you can find something rare. If you want to just forage and see if you can find just some common plants or herbs and things, then you don't need to make a check. You just need to roll a d20 to let me know what it is that you find, essentially. I'll tell you what you find with a d20 roll.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'll go for the normal d20.
Yep. Okay, so roll me a d20.
$17.
Okay. And then give me a roll a d4 for me, please.
A 1.
So you find a piece of yarrow.
A piece of what?
Yarrow.
Yarrow. It's a root.
Okay.
Yep. That is what you find.
Nice.
All right. So the d20 is like will help me to decide what it is that you got, and the d4 is how much of it you got. So unfortunately, you got a 1. So you got one piece of yarrow. So if you
Can that be? Do I know if that can be used for anything?
So remind me of what potions do you know?
Healing potion.
Oh, and a poison, isn't it? I think.
And poison and fancy magic ink.
That's right. I don't think it will be used in the fancy magic ink. Because you need stuff more fancy for that. That's what the other roll's for, is for like more rarer things. So let me have a look here. Where are we? Look, my thing. Yarrow. Okay. Yes. Yarrow can be used as part of your healing potion.
Woo!
So yes, that could go towards the 3 items that you need for making another healing potion. Cool. So while you guys are standing and thinking about how to get past this thorny problem, Moira is scrabbling around and having a look at getting some yarrow and collecting some bits and pieces that she needs.
And Galatea is going to have a very close look at the lantern.
Okay, sure. Are you just looking at it, or are you casting anything?
Yep, casting Identify.
Oh, you got Identify. Perfect. All right. So Identify.
Give me a minute.
If it is a magic item or some other magic immune, you learn its properties and how to use them. Blah blah blah. Perfect. All right. So, this delicate lantern. It is a lantern of mothlight. So the lantern itself sheds dim light for 30-foot radius. The light is considered magical, and it continues to function even in magical darkness or anti-magic field. Though it sheds only 10 feet in such places. So if you've got magical darkness, you can see within 10 feet. It doesn't let you see like your normal vision, but it will let you see 10 feet. While you're holding the lantern, the attuned bearer has advantage on wisdom perception checks made in dim light or darkness. I'll copy and paste this later for you as well. And the other thing about this is that the lantern's flame changes colors based on any strong, based on its emotion at the time. So, if it's golden, it is joyful or feels courage. And when you freed it from the water, it was gold because it was overjoyed to be free. When you held it up to the vines or the briar, it went a pale green. And pale green can signify that it's near fey magic or trickery. If it goes red or violet, it is anger and hatred. And if it is silver or blue, it is sorrowful or fear.
Ooh. I'm gonna tell everyone else this information.
And it is indeed a fey relic, which is what Tahana suggested it could be.
Nice.
Do you tell the rest of the party this, or just keep that to yourself?
Yeah, can you hear me all right? Because I keep saying stuff and I don't think it's going through.
Oh, I don't know. I don't know if you're saying anything, because if I don't hear it, I don't know if you said it.
Yeah, fair enough.
She did say that she would tell everyone.
Oh, okay, sorry. I may have been talking over that bit and didn't hear. You say, oh, no, tis for no, it's just a boring old lamp. You don't need it. I'll get rid of it for you. That's all right. Let me throw it away. Perfect. All right, I'll copy paste the details for it then into the session notes. We don't have one for. Oh, you've got Guardian Mask as a separate one. I was going to do one for like magical stuff, but we can always do it like magic shit. There we go.
So, Fey magic. Are we assuming that there's just the briar, or can you move it to check the path?
Tisvin will do so.
Uh, just give me 1 second. I'm just pasting this in.
Nice. It's a very pretty lantern. Jasmine, did you just pull that out of the book?
Yeah.
How did you see that in that?
It was close to the corpse that we killed.
Oh, I see.
And when I reached my hand down, well, I guess it got stuck in the handle while I was rummaging around.
Oh, I suppose we should probably check more often if creatures leave something behind. Yeah, I hadn't thought of that.
Perfect. Sorry, you were checking the briar with it, yeah. So yeah, you hold the lantern up again, and they say the color goes green. So it sort of suggests that there is either fey magic, something to do with this briar, or it's trickery, or it's something unnatural about it.
Then Tisvin walks back and holds it out over the path.
So when you move away from it, yeah, it goes back to being just I think I said it's normally just a sort of a bluey purple lavendery, lavender and deep blue flame is where it in its sort of neutral state.
Okay, so the path seems okay, but there is some form of fey magic around the briar.
Okay, well, the briar doesn't seem to want to let us in, so I suppose we would be intruding if we tried. Maybe we should just keep going.
While you've been doing this, Sahana has been looking. She doesn't have any spells or anything that she can use specifically to, like, as you mentioned, fire as a way of perhaps burning this down. But she has been trying to sort of.
Not burning it down.
Oh, I thought you said about using. Oh, you were going to hold fire towards it, weren't you? That's right. Yeah. The lantern doesn't seem to have that same effect. I think from your identify, you're probably because it's magical, like a magical this moth-like flame in the side of it. Obviously, isn't normal fire. So, and it's sealed within this lantern. It's not a flame that is exterior to it, like it's trapped within this glass or whatever is in the lantern. So it's not fire as in the normal fire that you had before when you put a torch against the thing itself. So you're not sure if it would react the same way anyway. But while you've been doing this and you've been trying that as well, as Sahana sort of mentioned before, there are this is quite a thick briar, like the thorns and stuff are quite big in it as well, and there are sort of gaps between it, and she sort of thought perhaps you might be able to squeeze through if you didn't want to cut it down or anything as well. So she's been trying to kind of squeeze herself through an area or a gap that she felt like she might be able to get through it, and she needs to make a roll. Dexterity. So she's going to try and squeeze herself through it while you guys were trying that, just to see if she could get through. If you guys aren't cutting it down or anything. So
Get the snake to slip through.
well, she might be. You didn't ask her about it, I don't think. Yes. So yes, Sahana manages to find a path through safely. She doesn't get hooked on any of the thorns, I think, and she makes it to the other side.
Oh,
And she sort of waves and sort of points into sort of the area where she sort of squeezed through.
Okay. Be quiet in there.
She looks at you with her hands on her hip and pokes a black tongue out.
Yeah. You know what I mean. Don't crack anything.
She turns around and looks beyond the barrier that you've kind of got, the briars that's in the way, and she looks there and then she sort of writes a little note and she sort of holds it up through with a gap where you can see, and it just says houses.
Oh.
And then
Okay.
and she just writes farm underlined.
Okay, well let's try and check it out then. Tisman, can you pass her the lamp and see if there's any more trickery ahead, or if it's just the briar?
Tisman will walk up to where Sahana entered and reach out with the lantern as far as he can.
Okay, yeah, and she'll try and reach through as well, because it's just your arm. It's not too difficult. This is quite a thick briar, and it's barring your way, but there are gaps between it because it's so big and the thorns are so big. So squeezing yourself through it would require a roll, but putting your arm through is quite easy. It's quite small compared to it, and you're able to sort of just feed the lantern through. And Sahana takes it from the other side, and while it's within or being passed through the briar itself, it remains that green, but as it gets to the other side of it, it goes back to being a bluish, a violet color again.
Okay, let's go through, and those who might struggle, let's just help each other out.
This one will go first in through.
Okay, so you're gonna try and squeeze through it. Perfect. All right,
Yeah,
can you make me a dexterity saving throw, please, as you try and squeeze yourself through?
Galatea will push.
You're pushing him?
Yep.
9.
Unfortunately, with Galatea pushing you from behind, you kind of squeezing through, but your armor is just got too many pointing out bits, and you kind of get stuck on some of the briar, and as you're pulling and to try and shift your way, you pull yourself too far, and you kind of push up against one of the thorns on the briar, and you take 3 points of piercing damage.
Sorry.
But since I have heavy armor master, that gets negated by 3 points.
Oh, perfect. So you would have got pierced by it, but you know.
As long as it isn't magical.
Oh, well, in that case, then you do.
Ah, damn it.
Because your lantern warned you that it was created by, well, Fey magic was involved.
Magic, trickery, yeah.
Yeah. So,
Damn it.
but thanks for pointing that out to me.
Yeah, of course.
It's only
Gotta be fair.
thorns.
Yes. I'm immune to poison, unless it's this. Oh, well, it is that. Ah.
Oh, well, fair enough then.
It was that all along.
It was that all along. Yeah, what? Oh, only by fire. Oh, well, you find a burning building. No, yeah. Unfortunately, in that case, then this is considered magic, and so magic it would be. But you do make it to the other side, though. And the rest of your party. So we've got Tisfan and we've got Sahana on one side. Sorry?
So we can't help each other.
Well, you did help. You pushed him into the thorn.
Yeah, okay. Well, I thought...
Fine helping.
Yeah, no, you can't really help someone else through. It's one by one to squeeze through because this is a small gap. So unfortunately, if you were both able to go through at the same time, maybe you could have given each other help, but you can't really assist someone who's traveling through these sort of thorny briars, so it'd be a very difficult thing to do.
Well,
Not unless you were doing something like helping him by shrinking him down to make him smaller so he could pass through easier or something like that. That would help.
Fair enough. I just thought.
Squirm feature.
Squirm. Yeah, squirm through.
Then
Right, who's next? Moira, you're small. You can fit.
Yeah, I am somehow trying to figure out if I have like a racial feature that can help me.
So are you
And Moira's
considered
busy
small?
looking at plants.
You're considered small, aren't you, Moira?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'd say that you could pass through with it. You could roll with advantage.
Oh.
Thing is half the size. Should probably be easier.
So which roll was it?
It was a dexterity saving throw.
Okay. Advantage. That is a 21.
Perfect. Yes, you walk through. You barely even have to move. You find a gap. You can just walk through, and you just duck your
Just
head to
walk
one
under
side,
it.
and just and you're through the other side, and you're like, easy peasy, and you make it safely across to the other side.
the benefits of being small
I'm small.
and adorable.
Duh.
Virginia, your turn.
And she will have a go at trying to get through. Now, let me see. Does she have anything that would help her in this regard? Doesn't look like it. Okay, she's just going to make a roll. Dexterity. Yep, that's a 17. So yes, with her her snake-like body, she effortlessly moves. She's not too happy about having to sort of crouch in places, but she's quite limber and manages to move herself and her body through without any problems.
She just does the limbo.
Yeah, limbo. And then there were two.
Ladies first.
See you. All right.
You're both there going, yeah, up to you. No,
Yes, I
please,
know.
you first. You
Gotta take us through.
go for it. Give me a dexterity saving throw.
Lady. Sure. 10.
10 is just enough.
Oh,
You managed to make it through without any injuries.
I think maybe my cloak gets a little.
Your cloak, yeah, it sort of gets tagged, but you're able to unhook it without taking any damage yourself. So you make it
Just got a
through
little
unharmed.
hole.
Now, Amros, with your large horns, let's see if you can make it through.
Excuse me, these are fashionable. Yep, Amros is going to see how dexterous he is today. It was a dex save, right?
That's right.
Oh,
Oh, it was like it was
19.
almost a 7, but then it went to 17. And then for a 19, perfect. And yes, you make it through unscathed as well. And you all are on the other side.
I will
And
say that I had a thought that, if I roll a 1, does that mean that the Chernobog is gonna spawn behind me? When everyone else is on the other side.
that's the wrong one. There we are. That's the right one.
New map.
You are on a new map.
March 3?
Have you all loaded in?
The
Wait,
map is all black. Oh my god.
Huh?
Oh, this is where we were with the Dryads.
I can't see anything.
It's
Nope.
just loading again. Sorry, I think I loaded the wrong one.
Yeah, I'm on the Ancient Grove.
Yeah,
It's a farm for me.
yeah, you're on different ones. Sorry, Harry. Let me just make sure that you're all right. Let me. No. Oh God, I've done it again. Jesus Christ! It's because they've changed it used to be tabs along the top. Now they've rolled it up all into a box. But if you click on one, it changes the order. And then so the next time you go to click on it, it's all different again. So that's a real. I don't know why they changed that. It's stupid. Anyway, You should all be on the farm now. Can you see the farm?
Nope, it's dark.
Yes.
I see a path, and I think I see pumpkins. Everything is in grey for some reason.
Oh,
is
I've
very
probably changed. Yeah, hang on. I probably didn't put a light source in here again. 1 second.
Everything is black.
Yeah, that may be the reason, because I don't think again, it used to be that there was a light on by default, but it obviously isn't now. So global illumination. Do you see now?
Yes.
Perfect. All right.
Yeah, I see the whole thing now. Nice.
Lovely.
We are old art.
Oh, because I have to drag your new. Oh, God. I don't know why it doesn't just update automatically. It's so frustrating. Okay, 1 second.
I'm sorry.
No, it's not your fault. It's the software not updating automatically. It seems
We're
illogical.
old.
The way if you make a change to the player token in the, because it has different, you can have ones you can change the details just for an instance. So if I did any changes to Tisfun, it would just be in this map, and when I go to another one, it would all go back to the default. So say he has a lantern in his hand, I can put that on his character here, and then I don't have to worry about having to take it off when we go somewhere else because the default token won't have it. But when I make changes to the default one, it doesn't also update the token that's on the board. I have to then drag out another copy of that same character. So it's just a real pain in the ass. So I made this map when you had the old portraits. Moira. Okay. Right, that should be everyone. Right, so as you come to the other side of this briar with Sahana, you can see you open into a wide clearing in the woods. Here you find a small collection of what look like hovels or homes, surrounded by fields that are, at first glance, look like they are rampant with weeds and look like they contain several enormous sort of pumpkins and things that seem to be growing here. This may have been like farmland at some point, but the only things that seem to be growing here are these pumpkins. There's lots of weeds, and it seems very unkempt. In these fields, you see at distance several humanoid shapes. Standing out in there, which you can identify as there being looking like scarecrows that's be standing. There are several of them that you see, probably the ones that you can see. It looks like every field has at least one scarecrow in it. And far, I don't know what your range of view is. You may or may not be able to see that, but towards the end of the path that leads through this farmland, there seems to be a one large scarecrow at the very end, just past the buildings.
6 scarecrows, 1 7, the big one.
And the one at the end of the path seems to be leaning up against upon a large branch of a great tree, and yeah, that's all you can see currently.
Suspicious scarecrows.
Do the houses have any lights in them?
No. Currently, that you don't see any lights from any of these buildings. From what you can see at distance here, if this used to be farmland, based on the fact that you can sort of see like these pumpkins and there seems to be walls and things, and where potentially like rows of fields may have been. It doesn't look like anything has been grown here or cultivated in some time. There's lots of weeds and sort of the walls are covered in sort of moss and tangle of weeds and things, and the buildings look quite disheveled. And as you're standing there, just sort of contemplating and looking at this, you hear the call of a car as you see just fluttering on the top of these buildings. There's a few ravens that just seem to be nestled on the top, and they They just seem to be staring at you and fluttering on the top of these buildings.
Cool. Can anyone talk to animals? Anyone who can speak?
I can.
I
Wait,
could if I would if I could speak.
maybe you can ask the ravens if it's safe to stay here.
Safe is always a questionable definition, especially considering if we're asking ravens, they might say it's safe, but at the
As
same
you're
time,
as you're
they might
standing
tell
there,
us-
you notice 2 or 3 more ravens come fluttering out from the woods, and they perch across on the top of another building over the other side.
This
And-
feels like a Hitchcock movie.
Tisvin will take a few steps forward, pull out his amulet, make sure that it is on his chest, and bow his head to the ravens, then look to see if they do anything. So he steps forward a little.
Okay. They're probably, what's it? 5, 10, 15, yeah, they're quite a way away. They're just sort of perched on the top of the buildings, quite a long way away from you. The only thing you notice is that as you sort of approach, you guys enter this area. Every now and again, there's another cawing from the forest, and another 1 or 2 ravens come out, and they perch either on the wall or on top of the buildings themselves, and they just slowly there's seems to be, over the space of a few minutes, more and more ravens that seem to be coming out of the woods and just settling on the top of these buildings. They don't when you hold up your amulet, they don't seem to react in any way.
Okay, I'll give it a try. Amorous is gonna approach one of the houses where some of the crows are,
Sure.
and hope that ours follow along so he's not alone.
Tisvin follows right behind.
Thanks.
That's it. And say, as you walk through the ground here as well, just as you're walking along, you just, there's just more ravens come flying out, and it's getting to the point now where there's quite a few. There's like almost 20 or so ravens just all sitting on top of the building. There's like 20 over here and 20 over here, and there just seems to be more. Every moment that passes, more and more ravens come, until there's just like so many just sitting all over the roof, just all cawing and making quite a bit of a din now.
It's definitely ravens and not crows.
Crows.
It's crows.
Yeah, crows, sorry.
It's like a murder.
Yeah.
Good. There's a murder here. That's lovely.
When
No, you-
Amorous gets to this house, he's gonna take a. He's gonna breathe out a bit of a sigh, and then draw a symbol on his tongue, because that's the way he does speak with animals. And look at the crows and go, excuse me, would you mind answering some questions for us?
So yeah, there are a load. So at this point now, I'd say like the roofs of these buildings are getting pretty much covered by crows. There are, every few moments that you've walked in here, and then you've been entering and walked down the path, and continuing into this area, there have just been almost a continuous streams of crows coming out, and now there are probably almost 100 crows now split between the 3 buildings, all sitting on there. A couple on the walls as well, but they've just multiplied, and there are now all manner of crows, all sitting on top, all making like clucking and cawing noises. As you come up and you do the symbol on your tongue and you speak out, the crow that is maybe nearest to you, on the bottom edge, it's probably one of the last ones to get there because it's right perched on the very lip of what used to be the roof, which has sort of fallen through in places. It's probably just sort of fighting with another one, trying to kind of get a perch on there. And but when you speak, all the eyes of the crows all focus on you in one, like almost in unison.
The moment they all turn to Amros will slightly freeze up.
And sorry, what did you ask? Sorry.
I asked if they would be willing to answer a few questions. Pretty much making sure that I got some form of attention from them.
Yeah, the bird nearest to you kind of cocks its head, and you see its little eyes sort of blink, and it looks at you, and then it sort of calls out, "Ask, ask."
I hear nothing.
Yeah,
Oh, you
what
didn't?
did it say?
You didn't hear me? Oh, he says, "Ask, ask."
Yeah, it cuts you out, I think.
He's saying ask.
Oh,
We're looking for a safe-ish place to spend the night. Do you know if this place is somewhat secure?
The crow again tilts its head, and all of the and there are still more crows flying in at this point. By the way, they haven't stopped. They're now pushing each other and trying to fit as many as they can on the roofs. Some have landed on the walls around you. Some are in some of these barren trees. And the crow that looked at you tilts his head backwards and forwards, and almost at once when you ask about is this a safe place, all of the birds, all of the crows just fluff themselves up, and they all start not flying, but they start fluttering their wings backwards and forwards, like all of the roof on this house. They're all like that, and all seem to be agitated suddenly as you say these words. And then all of the crows on the other two houses all do the same thing. They all start flapping their wings, and you hear like all these cawing and flapping of wings. And to you, all this noise together, it sounds like laughter. And as this noise gets louder, with all these crows and more still continuing, that's when you feel a rumbling below your feet. And that's where we'll end it for tonight.
fuck.
We're gonna die.
This is not a safe place at all. With all the crows, are just like, this is probably not a safe place. More crows. Not a safe place. Even more crows. Not a safe place.
And you kept going. You kept walking up to it instead of like it being.
Because we needed some place to stay.
You went so far in.
No one stopped me.
Well, I'm back here. Stopping.
Tisva wouldn't have reacted as he did if Faye didn't call them ravens at the start.
Sorry, yeah, that was my fault. Like, they were blackbirds, so there may be some ravens in there. There may be. There is
so few roofs.
there is a mixture of ravens and crows. We'll say there is a mix of blackbirds. But regardless,
You did this, Faye. You did this. We were ready to head on, and you did this.
I think you didn't recognize if they were ravens because they were so far away, so you had to get a bit closer to make sure that they weren't ravens. And yeah, that's probably why they didn't react to your symbol. Yeah.
No.
Oh no, they're just crows.
Yeah, sure.
No, you led us here.
I didn't lead you here. I gave you the choice. Sahana wanted to carry on.
No, Sahana just went straight in. You did this, and I'm gonna blame you if anyone dies in here.
Sahana said, "Oh, we should carry on. I don't know how far it is, but it's safer along the path." And you're the one who wanted to look at the other options.
Said, let's keep going. I said, let's keep going ahead, not in there. And Sahana went in there.
Well, she could have come out again.
Uh-huh.
If you guys were like, oh no, we'll carry on, it's safer this way.
Oh.
Bullshit. I'm gonna hold you to this. I'm gonna blame you forever.
It's not my fault that you were looking for somewhere to stop.